welcome.
Hello.
So you are main support player, correct?
That's right.
And you are currently peak 29 platinum?
I'm current 29.
Current 29, I see. And so, sorry?
I was just going to say, peak playing all supports would probably be around low 3.5, but that was many seasons ago.
Okay. And this is a VOD of a tournament, correct?
Yep, that's right.
Of you and your team? And so, what are the biggest problems you feel like you have in your gameplay?
I used to have probably mechanics as a problem. I feel like that's improved over time, but my game sense and things like ult tracking or carving or planning team fights, which I think is part of my role as main support, I think that's it needs more work now. And I feel kind of stuck in a rut, not sure really how to move forward.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get started.
Hot.
We'll definitely take a listen at ult tracking.
Body main fire 1v1, dude.
You'll notice my teammate Vizra usually does that, but I'm also keen to improve it.
You fucked me every single time.
I don't read it.
Alright, let's go.
Zephyr's looks. Let's do
Good
this.
switch.
What do you say?
Do your health. I see. They've
I
got
see
pharmacy as well.
I got Doomfist
They've got
high ground,
Sigma.
right?
They got Sigma, Rissa, Doomfist.
Okay. I'm pushing
Farah,
through their shield.
pharmacy left, pharmacy left, pharmacy left.
They've got no shield. They've got no shield.
Good call.
Moira. No fade.
Moira still, Moira.
Push through.
Yep, keep calling, keep calling.
Arissa.
Risky res.
Ping me, Farah, ping me, Farah.
Good.
Mercy left, Mercy
Dead.
left.
Cool. Who are you shooting?
Oh, we didn't kill the Moira.
There's no way to just short back, you know. Let's take a look at
Farah,
Through that
pharmacy left.
from
They've
the
got no
time that
shield,
you
they've got
fly
no
in
shield.
for the res.
Moira.
How could you be
No
getting
fade.
better value?
Sorry, could you say that again?
So from the time that you go for the res right here, let's just take a look at team fight.
Moira still,
So
Moira,
far
Moira.
you're
Push
only
through,
down
through,
one
through.
with the doom. So the angle that you have before you go for a res, the first thing you want to think about is would I get more value of holding this angle downwards with the Pharah than I would leaving the Pharah and resing the doom, especially if the doom's just recently died. You have a little bit of time to decide. So it is more than okay to wait and just kind of assess the situation before you
Through.
go in for the res.
Arissa.
So you see how this Arissa placed her shield, and she has committed to this position. And then you also have a critical teammate in the back. You also have a critical teammate in the back, and your Arissa who's taking the 1v1. So you could either heal your Sigma, I believe that's Sigma. You could heal the Arissa and help Arissa win this 1v1, and then maybe be able to squeeze the res in. Or you could just stay with your Pharah. Depending on what your team calls, their team has as well, should weigh into this decision. I don't remember what they called. We can see.
I think it might have been Moira.
You press tab.
No fade.
Moira still, Moira.
Push through.
So they have pharmacy mirror. You are running full mirror. Okay.
Through.
Yep, keep calling,
Arissa.
So right after you went for the res, you lost the trade. So instead of equaling out, you lost your Arissa, and Arissa is more important than Doom.
I'm gonna
Ping
pump
me,
this
Farah,
in
ping me,
for a
Farah.
team. Oh no, I'm not.
Mercy left,
Dead. Cool. Who are you shooting?
I don't know where your Pharah went.
I don't know either.
She's above you now.
I'm down, you have no healers. Okay, looks like we're regrouping. We are running a mirror comp, so just need to...
So don't rush the res so much.
Yep.
Especially if it's an
Almost got
early
barrage.
pick.
Yep, they're gonna have barrage. Can we wait this out?
That's my bad. I should have used my concussion blocks.
They're gonna have Barrage, Coalescence, and maybe Sigma ult.
Right.
They're
Yeah,
gonna
just
have
Coalescence.
Barrage,
We can-
Coalescence, and Sigma ult. So Coalescence maybe, just because it charges so fast. Sigma ult is the second or third slowest charging ultimate in Overwatch right now. So they're definitely not gonna have Sigma ult. And then their Pharah,
We can use
probably not
Coalescence to go in and
Barrage,
look for our
unless she
opportunity
did an
for
insane
our-
amount
Go
of
through
damage,
the, go
which
through the
she
door on the right
didn't
to
because
avoid
the
the
fight was very
fire
quick.
wait.
Oh, I'm gonna
They
be
have
going with the
Barrage
Pharah.
instead.
So a little bit of overestimation. Normally after the first fight,
yeah.
they will only have a low cost ultimate, such as maybe Valk, Coalescence, or like a Tracer Pulse. You know, really low cost ultimates like that. Otherwise, depending on how much damage it did, they're probably around 60 at max.
Hold them together so I can like hold punch. We can hold punch.
Yep.
See, just as you're 67 and Mercy
I
ult
got
is a
booped
lower
up.
cost
Okay, I'm
ultimate,
halting.
so they definitely don't have Sigma.
There's 3 together. My next shield's going on point.
Your Mercy mechanics are not
Doomfist
bad
has
at
no
all.
cooldowns. Nice. Sigma, Sigma,
Watch out,
Sigma.
Mercy coming in.
Fire, fire.
It is better to hard commit to the damage boost on the Pharah, just because it is basically a suicidal ult. You're locked in a position, especially if there's no Zarya bubble or Sigma shield or defensive ult that is used with the Pharah. It's a suicidal ult, and you're looking to get 2-for-1 value or better. So with the Pharah, you basically want to kill the entire enemy team before Pharah dies, otherwise she's gonna die anyways.
Yeah.
Fire, fire, fire.
Mercy left, I'm down as well. Good work, good work.
Gonna try and hold that fire.
Fuck.
So what
Oh.
did they use? What did they use?
Do you know how close you were? Holy shit.
I'm gonna heal Amore.
They're all up top on me.
Yeah, yeah. Doomfist is half in there.
They have Barrage. Do they use Coalescence?
I used Valk. I'm gonna use my
They
Valk.
used
this time.
Coalescence the first time.
Wearing a fade.
Oh, Sigma's one, Sigma, Sigma. Sigma.
We're dead.
Doom coming in,
I'm
Doom
bolting.
coming in, Doom coming in. Doom behind, Doom on
This
point,
is
Doom
low.
on-
Oh, nice,
Well, that's good Valk timing.
They're all backing out, they're backing
Did
out.
you use
they're
your
backing
Doom?
out.
Okay.
No more ups.
It was good because it was right as they committed to the fight.
Yeah, I felt like they might be committing soon, and I felt very out of position.
I should have Coalescence next fight again.
It's cool. That's really where far is. Sometimes I just don't know what she is.
Barra is on Babel.
Middle back.
Yeah, they're
Wait,
pushing,
they've
they're
got
pushing in.
These, bro. They have Sigma ult.
We
It's
don't,
fine.
we
It's
don't.
okay.
Pull back, pull back, pull back.
No, they don't.
I got out.
Get that bongo, Justin. Get that bongo if we can.
Your Sigma
Orisa's
needed to
pushing
call
in,
that
she-
he was using ult because you nor Pharah got any value out of it. There was no follow up with his ult, and it resulted in 0 kills.
She doesn't have shield.
Interesting.
She's gonna come after me.
Rissa. I don't have shield, I don't have shield.
Coalescence cancelled. Coalescence cancelled.
Keep calling targets. Barra's back up, Barra's back
We're
up.
dead. We're dead.
Barra's back up.
Arissa's in here, Arissa has no shield. I've got no shield as well. I got booped off, I'm on their side. I'm gonna get killed here, I think.
Are we calling no ults here? Or are we still going?
No ults.
No ults, no ults.
We're just stalling now.
Yeah.
That wasn't bad at all. No, that was really good.
My ult.
You positioned more defensively as the fight went more and more in their favor because you have to stay alive and get value.
Alright, so what did they use?
Your movement was good mechanically.
They use-
Mercy
That
is
far
pretty
is like
solid.
half health there. She's one. Ooh.
I feel like Mercy's probably my strongest hero. But I will also play a lot of
Just drop
Lucio.
lowers, 'cause I think we're
throughout
they're
this,
they're
so-
pushing highs.
Okay, cool.
I need to be back on that.
Fire and Doom are up right side.
Yep, Mercy's with Doom right side.
Okay, so we need
Farah
to
should have out again, man.
If anything,
Yeah,
I would
I've
say
got
to your
my
Pharah,
Ooh.
she needs to
Mercy's
play
fine.
more
Just directly
more aggressive towards the beginning of the fight. How much damage are you doing? How many kills are you securing in the fights so far this round? It's only been 3, maybe 4. And one of those at least was on the other Pharah, which you shouldn't necessarily be doing too much.
I don't have shield for 4 seconds. Just chill.
Alright, don't let her rest. Get the mercy now. Get the mercy.
Unless you're one
She's on,
every
she's
one,
on
but
our
you're not.
side. She's on our side of choke. She's main. She's main.
I've been punched.
So since you killed the other Pharah, there is nothing threatening to your Pharah, and once she commits to looking for the Mercy, who is main, this is whenever you really want to fly to your Pharah, propel yourself past, and then go towards your Sigma and help them win the ground fight. Because if we go back a little bit, right about here, this is whenever you're looking for the Pharah, right? And whenever the
I think the Pharaoh went down in Mercy.
or yeah, you're looking for the Mercy. And since your Doom is dead, it's just your tanks and your Moira who are pushing into their Doom, their Moira, and their tanks. So, they're in a pretty difficult situation. And yes, locking up the Mercy, preventing the res is the right call. And it is very, heads up to focus on that because this Mercy is out of flight distance. So securing the kill on her, yes, good call. But this far, it doesn't need your help to do it. So you should go get value elsewhere.
Our side
Elsewhere.
of choke. She's main. She's main.
I've been punched.
I'm gonna rest.
Reloading.
I'm gonna rest.
Doofus has no cooldowns. Doofus no cooldowns.
Sigma.
Your Pharah needs to call that. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
Doom. Doom's dead.
Yep. Can we get a wrist?
Arissa's on me. Arissa's on me. Arissa.
Person now.
Arissa.
Your Doomfist needs to play much more defensive. Especially as retaking the point, what you want to do is kind of turtle. Let me change colors. You want to kind of turtle behind your Orisa shield, and you want to have Doom. And so once you are able to shield up to their shield, it's real easy for their Doom, your Doom, to punch their Orisa, knock her back, and then you can push up more space onto point. It's just one way to do it. Otherwise, it's really easy to have your Doom. If teams do set up like this, which Orisas always do, as seen here, then you have your Doom come out more to the side and look for kills on a wall. Either way, your Doom is, instead of playing around your line, your half, your Doom is normally in their back line, flanking and trying to 1v5.
Arissa.
Farah right or Farah
Watch
main?
their barrage. Watch barrage.
She's gonna try and
Ulting.
start.
Doofus.
Alright, be careful. Oh, she's on the left now.
Moira no fake. Moira.
It's a lot more valuable, especially with Supercharger, to just damage boost your team whenever you run Valk.
I think I might have gotten a little kill thirsty there.
Yes, you did, but also whenever you come back with Valk and you're topping off teammates who have this much HP. Sam, could you turn it down a little bit? Turn it down. Thank you. Also, whenever your teammates just have this much health missing and you've committed Supercharger, you already have them in advantage. It's a lot better to stack your damage with the Supercharger just so you output an insane amount of damage to clean up the fight.
Yep. That sounds good.
I'm gonna hold bow. Got it. No, I did. Okay.
Punching.
Individually, yes, heal, but as a whole team, the damage is better.
Just to decrease the time to kill.
Good map.
Yes, especially whenever you have already deployed Supercharger, and that's already the approach you're taking to the fight, is high damage, kill them now, hold the choke, etc.
See, Sigma's fun.
If
So we're gonna flank them from the other side into our team.
they're
Just
still on high
I
ground,
need you to like land big holds though.
Yeah.
Tell me when you're halting so I can go in.
I'm gonna go
They're
heal.
all in the right on their side, so I'm gonna hold them now.
Trying to fade. Oh shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on this side. Contesting.
Thanks, where are you? Thanks. Doom shouldn't be going in first, man.
Sorry, no.
Alright, we're gonna Rico.
May is one.
This entire fight, neither you nor your Pharah had any idea where the enemy team was. you were sitting high ground. You didn't know who was on point. You didn't know what was happening on this side of the fight where your team was positioned and the fight was taking place here. And so you kind of hovered above this area and you never hard committed. The reason why not hard committing, it's just dangerous, risky, but you had no value in this fight and your team died before you even engaged.
There's not enough of us here, I think.
It's already lost.
That's a good kill. Yeah, I think Tracy get out.
No, okay.
So this is what I was
Okay.
mentioning in the first fight. Go back.
Doom should
Just
Okay, they've
see.
just got nade.
May.
This is what I was mentioning on the first map, Village, where you and your pharmacy could be getting a lot more value earlier in the
High
fight.
ground.
Yes, yes.
So we're
So right here is a good example. They're positioned on their side of the point. If we drew a line straight in the middle of the point, they're on their side. And your team has to take your side of point. And so whenever they drop, it's a lot easier for the blue team to use cooldowns to engage onto them. So, and not to mention that red team will have less players because blue has all 6 in here, whereas you and pharmacy will be up in the air, right? So what this means is that you have to get more value during poke before you drop to accommodate for you not being there physically on the ground whenever you are fighting for the point. And you have 14 seconds to do that. So you and your Farah spend those 14 seconds
they're gonna flank them from the other side.
not doing too much.
I need you to like land big holds.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me when you're halting so I can go in here.
I'm gonna
They're
go
all in the right on their side.
So now
I'm
your
gonna
doom
hold them
drop,
down.
punched in.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on this side.
They're capping point. Your Sigma, your Doom, your Orisa's still up top. And then your Pharmacy is only now starting to poke in this tiny little area over this big point. So, you see, this is why it's difficult to push on and take this point now.
Testing.
Thanks, man. You thanks.
Your Doom was also the
Doom
only one
shouldn't be going in
who
first, man.
hard committed.
Alright, we're gonna Rico.
May is one.
There's not enough of us here, I think. That's a good kill.
So,
Yeah, I
grabbing
think
point
Tracy get out.
sooner,
No, okay.
maybe not playing
Okay.
Doom with Farah.
I think we can just
'Cause
play
Doom
slow
is
there.
more
If
of
they're
a
stuck
hard
in there
engagement
with
hero.
Farah,
Yeah.
we just like poke at them until one of them dies, or we just.
And here your teammates just talking about
Yeah,
everything
I
I
think-
was just saying.
I'm behind.
So we gotta get the
Well, we-
off angles.
I've got my ult.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. So we'll push
Maybe
on the
we'll-
high
yeah,
ground again.
push- Box them into point and then we'll
Doom
ult
face
them.
bottom left. Bottom left. Doom
Yeah,
face.
he's on the. Is he still in there?
Yeah, he's still
Call
there.
out if they
He's-
use call out if they use Sigma stun, because that's gonna screw Jess as well.
Okay, we're going above
You're
them, and we're
down.
just gonna smash out their shield. Okay, so after the next Orisa shield,
In high ground.
I need to. Sorry, just chill.
You stand in front of me, not behind me.
Okay, we can go in 4 seconds. We can go in.
No more, no more, no
Go
more.
now, go now.
We're going in now.
Oh
Okay, go, go.
no.
The May is on me, the May is on me.
Orisa's pushing in.
Good job repositioning.
Orisa, kill her. She's low.
Sigma behind.
So far, this has been a timing issue on your engagement.
Okay.
There's not
so,
too many issues I can go in depth on with pharmacy, so I'm just focusing more on your team.
Yeah,
After
that's
the-
good.
Place an Orisa shield high ground. Why do you need to defend that position whenever they are gaining seconds? So whenever you place down that Orisa shield high ground, that guarantees them at least 10 more percent without having to do anything, because your Orisa cannot push on point without her shield.
the next Orisa shield.
Now you're
In high ground.
I need
Wait
to,
for
sorry,
a
just
lot
chill.
longer.
You stand in front of me, not behind me.
Okay.
Doesn't your
we
Sigma
can go
trigger in the back?
in 4 seconds. We can go in.
No
4
more,
seconds.
no more.
We can go in 4 seconds. Your Doom's already on the low ground, crit, walled off, and your Farah has no more flight and she was on the ground as well. Their entire team is pushing out this way, and you still have your 2 teammates high ground counting down the engagement. So this is an issue from both your tanks taking way too long to engage. They're at 57% now, it's only the second fight. And the second fight technically hasn't happened yet. You have a pick. Right? And so at this rate, maybe you'll have time to have a third fight, which isn't enough time to reset ult economy. You want to try to get a fight, 4 to 5 fights in 100%. Assuming you have a Lucio, which you normally do on Koth. And so, you know, you should have engaged faster. Your tank should have engaged faster. They should have dropped call to hard engage. And then your DPS, Pharah, Doom, should have just waited. Doom actually should be back with the Orisa and Sigma, like I said before, how he should be pushing. And not doing this because it's the Pharah's job to get this off angle. So, very
We're going in now.
big issue. Which results in their entire team looking this way. So it's not off angling anymore. You're frontlining at this point.
Yeah.
And your tanks are pointless.
The Moira, the May's on me. The May's on me.
Orisa's pushing in. Orisa's pushing in. Orisa,
Far did
kill her,
get
kill her,
2
kill her. She's
kills.
low.
Sigma behind. Get the Sigma. Alright, we regroup.
Vizra, you're going in too early, Vizra.
Yeah, man, I just want to get some poke. Oh shit, that's right.
Regroup. We have one more fight.
I did you see them
Right. They use Sigma ult, they use Coalescence. They're gonna have
Smoke,
blizzard.
goal. Good calls. They also used the beat, did they not?
I
They
think
used beat
someone's
for your
gonna have
barrage.
to go faster.
I don't even.
Possibly.
I can touch.
We won't check.
Yep, I think
But
you're gonna have to go.
I'm pretty sure they did.
I'm frozen. I'm on it.
Oh,
Good attempt. That's a simple mistake. It's okay. Ult tracking. Well, yes, you were rushed, and this one you didn't even get a third fight. So ult tracking means absolutely nothing unless you have a plan to respond to their ults. If you don't have a plan, it's information that you're not acting upon, and so it doesn't have any value. So whenever you do ult track, make sure there's somebody on your team, maybe it's you, maybe it's someone else, who is strategizing for each fight according to what you ult track.
I'm what the fuck?
that's
I was on it.
We're gonna wait to left side.
doing already.
Lucio.
They're going right.
Shield on their side of the Orisa shield.
Alright, I'm gonna save my speed boost then.
Yep.
What are you saving your speed boost for?
Are we going right or left?
Okay,
going
so
high
the
ground.
plan was to. If you want to go back a little, in the
Sure, I will
lobby,
also
the spawn,
go
it'll
here.
say what the plan was.
I think we need the Sigma shield. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait for their Orisa shield to go down, and then we're gonna use the Sigma shield to speed in past it.
Yep, take their space.
Yep, and then I'll put
And
our
put our own
shield
shield down.
on their side of the Orisa shield.
Alright, I'm gonna save.
It's still worth to use your speed boost now, though.
We usually do, especially if we're running an Arista, we want to take a position
Yes.
for them.
So, let's put it this way. There is 100 units, and then you have the neutral fight. So, your strategy is that whenever they place shield down here, you will use the speed boost to cover this distance. In reality, you cover this much distance with your speed boost, but the neutral ground is shifted back because you don't use it here.
Oh, yeah.
So instead, they are actually 160 and you're only 40, and you have to kite even farther with your Lucio boost, which isn't enough to cross the distance you need to, since their shield is going to be down before you even get there because you didn't speed up the spawn.
So we're kind of valuing the speed of the distance covered over how much distance is covered, which is the correct way to
Correct.
think about it. Yeah.
Yes. And we'll see once we get here.
You just call for it.
Another thing is you're assuming they're running
We're going
Orisa,
high ground
which
to left side.
at this elo it's okay. But at higher levels and in general, you don't want to roll out of spawn with your only plan being a prediction or an assumption.
True.
Because if they're running dive, you're like, oh,
Going right.
nobody knows what to
Going
do.
right.
Point.
Okay, let's move to point then. We want to play
They
close.
bottom, they are on point, they bottom.
Okay,
So now they are established on point, and you're having to push into them as if they'd already captured the point, and you're having to retake because you didn't use it to spawn.
we can speed through. Ooh,
Going.
Just go through the shield, through the shield. Everyone through the shield. Halting them in.
If you did speed out of spawn, you would already have your speed boost again, or your team could have waited the 1 second to make this decision.
I got eaten.
Something's
Yep,
weak.
nice, go.
Yep. I'm low.
I'm healing.
Yeah, all good.
Capping.
I'm halting them in there.
Yep,
They're all grouped
backing.
together. Okay, Sigma's isolated.
Good engagement.
Sigma first.
That was really,
And then
really
there's
coordinated and good.
Faye,
That's amazing.
someone else.
They left, they went upstairs,
Okay, push up. Are we missing anyone? Let's push to the choke. Push to the choke.
May's still up, I think.
Yeah, May's still
No,
here.
she's out. I reckon
Right
that's
there,
not- I
Lucio's
reckon that's not
respawning.
too far.
Okay, I'm halting above. Look for Sigma left click. Yeah, okay, back up. Just back up. We've got no shields. Okay, on the next.
Pay attention to. Is your Sigma shot calling? Or is it your Orisa?
It's the Orisa.
Okay,
It's
so
the Orisa shot call.
pay attention to your Orisa's tone of voice whenever she says that we need to back up. Say she because Orisa's a girl, not the
That's all good.
player. So it's just
Okay, I'm halting
pretty
above. Look
calm.
for Sigma left click.
We need to back up.
Yeah, okay, back up. Just back up.
And you never saw anybody. There's no threat that requires you to use a cooldown.
Back up. Got no shields.
So
got no
amping your
shields.
speed whenever your whole team's full health, and this is, well, it's a even bigger problem because its cooldown is even longer than your speed boost. So if you're the attacking team and you see them give you space and use cooldowns to give you space, that's just the green light to go and hard engage. Now they can't kite back because they use speed boost. They can't defend a position because they use Sigma grasp. It's bad. Backing up wasn't a bad call, but using speed boost and grasp to do it, big.
Okay, on the next. Okay, back all the way to point. All the way into the room.
See, that's when you needed your speed boost. Oh, they popped ults. We need to run all the way, right?
Yep. Remember, we've got
I'm
to
gonna
walk
out,
through
yeah,
this.
I'm gonna out push them.
Yep, go.
Go through. Arissa.
Do behind.
Good amp.
Reaper and do behind.
Reaper behind, Reaper behind.
Nice guys.
Just group up on point. Doomfist.
You got.
I'm not sure how good you are mechanically, but you really want to because they are running Reaper Doom. They're running Doom, right? Yes, they are.
yes.
They are. You really want to be on this wall because that way
Okay, yep.
you will always be getting value and you have a much better perspective to scout for the Doomfist and the Reaper. And so you can see whenever the Reaper is pushing, Reaper's always going a straight line towards a target who is looking that direction. And then you as a Lucio can drop down and move them to the side, peeling for the target. But because you're on the ground and this is your team and this is you, your vision is extremely limited and you're missing out on everything versus being up here and looking down.
Which is kind of what a main support, like that they are generally less mechanically involved, so I should be able to have a good viewpoint of the field and be able to shot call.
Yes. And so that's the biggest mechanical advantage of Lucio. And the reason why even professional Lucios need to be Reddit tier mechanically is so that you can subconsciously wall ride and maintain momentum while scouting, while communicating, and while focusing on your aim and your peel and mental decision making.
You got.
Okay, just you've only got Sigma. Just like chill a little.
Yep.
If you can kill one of them, all good. But don't push too far.
Let's try. Alright, back up.
Don't push speeds into the enemy choke.
Yeah, I'm back in.
So we can Sigma Doomfist combo.
Coming left.
Can you hold?
I'm not there.
Okay.
I'm not there.
Call that you're going to use Sigma Doomfist, but your Doom gets caught out of position. Your team pushed up this way. Your Doom said, no, I'm going this way. So that's not too great. Good boop.
Nice, alright, no more ults.
Shooting a hold in, pulling them.
Dum 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 dum.
So this wasn't communicated from your team. Everybody kind of acted on it, which is good. But
I'm not there.
if nobody says it, you want to be the voice that says it, especially as Lucio, because you decide where the team goes, and so whenever you have the Sigma ult, right here is whenever you want to be calling that we're going to follow up on the Sigma ult. We're going to hard commit into securing this kill. Especially since your Reaper goes in, and then you go in, and if it was just you two, you'd be in trouble. Because then, the Doomfist and the rest of the team can peel, kill you two, and now they have a man advantage. So that's why it's really important that in this situation, listen, nobody in your team communicates anything, you want to make sure everybody is on the same page.
Nice, alright, no more ults.
Shooting a hold in, pulling them.
Dum 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 dum.
Sorry. If I use much.
Are we down?
no.
Is everyone here? Are we all here?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
bongo
oh
next.
yeah.
Left, there's a Reaper.
Okay, don't get too distracted.
Yeah.
Break the shield, Holding
Last
above.
fight coming up. Gonna bongo them coming in.
Reaper's
Bonking now.
Oh no!
Hurt me so much.
That's pretty unlucky.
Dude, DPS coming left. Doomfist on
I reckon
point.
this lost
I'm
us
gonna
the
go
map.
for it. You guys are fine.
Spoiler alert.
Yep. Arista.
You shouldn't have been holding there
One dead.
No.
whenever they Sigma ult.
I'm dead. Pull
Okay.
you're on.
It's just too dangerous. And the one thing, if you are at 99 to 0, it is okay to commit to an early hold. But then the second you see that you are split, save your beat. You know you're not going to be able to save everyone. You know it's mostly a lost fight. And that's harder to do whenever it's like a small mistake like that. You can hope for the best. But if it's lost and it's best to just save ults. And then you can use that beat to re-engage and recap right after they used Meteor Strike, maybe Blossom, Flux, and who knows what else to take it from you.
Need to get that Doom down.
Where you're dead.
Doom.
On the Reaper. Yep, Doom. Reaper's off the map. He's gonna take you back up. Watch out. Alright, reset.
There, Lucio.
Now, what did they use there? Coalescence.
Sigma ult,
B,
coalescence.
Sigma. So they're gonna have Bongo.
They used
Reaper.
Reaper up.
No.
No.
No,
They should
they
have
have Reaper Bongo. They have Reaper Bongo, but they do have a ball here, so.
Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing we did at the first point, is wait for them to drop their Orisa shield, speed through with the Sigma shield, and just clean them up.
Alright, watch out for the Reaper ult. It's okay
Right
for
side.
wipes. That's because we'll have next push.
Yep. Balls in here? Let's just walk around. Let's just poke around a little.
Bouncing around behind us. Just watch out.
Alright,
Walking
fuck
around
that,
is a
sorry.
better call than
Alright, we
dropping.
follow you.
Okay, they Orisa shield. Back around, and we just drop underneath, and we'll push them.
Do we wait? Do we wait?
They use Bongo. Okay.
Reaper no
Wait, say-
defensive?
I'm dead.
That's unlucky. That was actually just
We've lost
unlucky.
both healers. We've lost.
Okay, let's just rush out and die. Just rush out and die.
Just jump off the map.
Oh, this is
That's
good.
fine,
This
that's
is
fine.
good.
They use Reaper ult and they use Bongo.
Sweet,
Yep,
Bye,
perfect.
bye,
Exactly as intended.
bye.
Okay.
We
Try
have the
push.
advantage this fight, I reckon.
Yep.
When you're gonna use Sigma, just remember to call us so I can hold.
Yep.
Reaper's poking, nothing crazy.
Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna bait the thing, but we're just gonna push main.
Yeah,
Just kill holds because I'll look.
They're setting up in the right corner.
I
In
think
the
you
right
call
corner.
ult, then he does the hold.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look here, force them here. Now we back up.
Make sure you kite your teammates. Just help them all get out of spawn.
Reaper's poking, nothing crazy.
Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna
Okay,
bait
my
the
bad.
thing, but we're just gonna push main.
You did.
Yeah,
Just kill holds because I'll look.
They're setting up in the right corner.
I think
Yeah,
you
generally
call ult,
pretty
then
good
he
with
does
that.
the hold.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look here, force them here. Now we back up.
Reaper above,
Now we
Reaper above,
use
Reaper
it.
above.
See,
Oh, ball.
that's a situation where you need to be immediately pooping him back down.
Okay.
Mechanically speaking, every second your team sets up anywhere, you want to get high ground as Lucio. So the second your team comes here, you automatically want to think, I can get on this wall, and then one jump away from getting up here.
Okay.
Or at least being
Look
ready
here,
to. So
Awesome here.
right there, whenever you just poke, there's no harm in jumping on this wall while riding, and then just dropping down. Right, you want to be magnetized to walls, non-stop touching walls. As
Now we
Lucio.
back up.
Rip.
The second you see Lucio teleporting, you backed up, but you could have hit the wall once and then jumped, and your boop range would have knocked him down.
Rip above, rip above, rip above.
Oh, ball.
Your Doom got it now.
Okay, we're just going main. We're going main.
That's your job.
I
Have
got
no
ult.
speed boost.
Okay.
Look for the hole, look for the hole.
Yeah. Halting them in. They're all there. That's huge. It's huge.
Go, guys, go.
Orisa, Reaper.
Reaper.
Balls on me. Balls on me.
Ball. Watch Reaper.
Reaper.
How did you die?
I think I got smashed into a wall.
Yes, you got punched, but positioning wise,
Okay.
Okay,
we're just going
I
main.
probably could have
Main.
been more on the ramp rather than on the point. Or actually, as you said, I should have been on the wall on the point.
so there's a Doomfist punch. The Orisa goes flying out to your side, and you're essentially frontlining now.
Yeah. Halting them in. They're all there. That's huge.
This is fine. So what I said about being magnetized, you are using Sigma's ult to engage, knocking them up, great. And you're running a speed boost your team to engage onto this. You are one press on your D key and one spacebar away from touching this wall and launching yourself forward towards them, but you don't do it.
It's huge.
You fall. And now you're on the ground
Go,
instead of in the air.
Go.
Knocked back
Reaper.
and punched blindly. You should be on the wall.
Reaper.
Reaper.
Balls on me.
Ball. Watch Reaper.
Reaper must die.
Reaper must live. Somewhere.
On maps like this, as Lucio, you should be on walls more than you're on the floor.
Last fight.
I'm changing
Okay.
fast.
I think that's a definite weak point in my
I'm coming
Lucio
in.
mechanic. While riding, I'm actually pretty terrible at it.
Do you have backwards while riding turned on? You do?
Alright. D below. Good. Focus Reaper if we can. Doom circle. Doom. Watch the bombs. Doom.
Okay, what are we focusing?
Doom.
So right now, there's this corner in the backside of point. It's kind of hard to see. There's this corner this way, right? And if you just put yourself in that corner, you can go from wall to wall and just go straight up. And it's fairly simple to do. You hold the S key and just kind of spam spacebar.
I can climb corners.
Right. It's just in your head. You're pressing the W key and you keep getting pushed back to the corner and you immediately leave it. It's just a mental thing. That's not where your head's at. Thinking to position the wall. See right here. You're on the wall
Doom circle. Doom. Watch
and you leave it.
the bombs. Doom.
And then you're in the corner. You leave it again. You're in the corner.
Reaper's
You
alive,
leave it
watch
again.
out.
Yep.
It's all good. It's just
Unlucky.
make a conscious effort to force yourself to wall ride as much as you can. That's the only way to get better. You have to force yourself to do it all the time.
There may
Alright, now Doom 20% can get fine. Oh, I lost you, Justin. I'll be right back.
Lucio's really good right now. You should play Lucio as a main support, unless you're playing Moira most of the time.
Oh, we're all gonna move through. Let's.
Which Moira is the flex support's role
He's
technically.
teleported out.
But you should play Lucio and every second of your comp game, just practice while riding. You can do everything else while you wall ride.
Out.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, I've got no shield to.
Lucio's a lot more fun, by the way, once you learn how to wall ride.
Okay, shoots
See
here.
how high ground above?
No wall. There's no more. Oh, May's behind.
This Pharah taking this angle is okay, but they have something on her whenever your team now has no peel from the hotel engagement, which is what they're doing. And then
So we
your
should be on the other side.
Yes, you should be positioned by this tower, so that one, you have this tower as cover, and two, whenever they engage onto your team, you as Pharah can look straight down and have AoE on your team defending them. Not to mention, you can shoot a concussion blast straight down to the middle of their team and send their entire team scattered. Which
May
is
has
big.
no cooldowns. Reapers with
May,
them.
May, May, May.
Maybe back off.
Gonna heal Tracy, then back to
We're
Dawson.
rocking now.
Nice. Just
Sigma 1.
play slow. Don't force it. Don't force it too much.
Exactly what your far is doing here. She has this sight line versus just playing here and having this one.
Okay.
Just small difference, but it gives you cover, and it's a lot. It's less distance that you're shooting as well. And then if you want to shoot back here, all you have to do is rotate out. Versus being where you are currently, you still have that same angle, but it's just a much farther distance, and you're a lot more in their line of sight, where you're a lot easier of a
Much.
target.
3, 2,
Yeah.
shield.
Let's go behind.
You as
Let's-
well.
Reaper behind.
Okay, Reaper behind, Reaper behind.
Yeah. Go take
Okay,
space.
we've got no shield. We've got no shield.
They've
We've got
got
no
no
shield.
shield either.
Cool.
In comp, if you're playing with a Pharah who is playing out in the open, what you want to do is position as close as you can and then heal her from a distance. Fly up to her and then go back to cover.
Reaper
Hold
behind,
it,
Reaper
Reaper.
behind high ground, Reaper behind high ground.
Just
Still
because
there,
Pharah
he's
needs to
inside
take an
middle
aggressive
building.
angle doesn't mean you have to position with her.
He's gonna drop, I think.
Rush Sigma.
Actually,
Right,
to
they're
back
all
up a
back.
little.
Go back.
I've got no shield. Pulling back to hotel little. Halting them. There's 3 grouped up.
You guys are
Reaper's
breaking off
behind, Reaper's
again.
behind.
Reaper flanky behind, Reaper flanky behind.
Reaper's in hotel. Reaper's in
Your
hotel.
Pharah needs to start calling her
Sigma, Sigma,
barrages.
Sigma, Sigma.
Yeah.
Reaper, Reaper,
I
Reaper.
got no heal.
The complaint that a lot of players will have is, oh, I can't tell exactly when I'm going to barrage. It's situational. Well, you can say that you have your barrage and you're looking to use it. And that's enough to be like, oh, okay, I need to be ready to pocket fire whenever she uses a barrage.
I got no heals.
Yep, I'm healing team.
Yeah.
I'm healing team.
Reaper, Reaper.
Barrage specifically,
Reaper first,
it
Reaper
doesn't
first.
require a fast reaction.
Lucio,
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 Lucio.
Lucio.
Job. I'm just following Farah.
It's actually.
Door.
Alright, we've got
Do
hold.
some point. Some point.
I'm on point.
Okay.
I got no coalescence. So
It's okay. I've got a Valks to heal the team if they need it. We can keep pushed up.
Still not running rain.
don't get caught out though.
Yeah, yeah. There's
Five
Sigmas
mixes.
here.
Okay.
There is.
For this streets phase, you can try it for one fight, but you really want to switch off the pharmacy right after the first point. Because here, you
Yeah.
have this one lane, and all it takes is one Sigma shield, which is about that big whenever he fires it up. And now all of a sudden, their entire team that's positioned in this lane is impossible to hit. As Farah. And you have this airspace. This is all you have.
Yeah.
It's the only place you can position. It's very, very bad for Farah.
Marissa, they're positioning. Okay,
I think we do stay on pharmacy for too
I'm
long.
getting Maywalled into a nice and good.
Reaper flanking you guys on top of the
Yep, yep.
distillery.
Reaper top of that.
Unless they are running Ball and Diva, you should never play Farah on second point Kings Row.
Can you hold?
Back
Can you
up.
hold?
I take that back. Ball and
So it's just
Zarya.
backing up. Got no shield for 3, 2, 1. They've got no shield. Push up, push up, push up.
Ulting.
2 ults already. 2 ults already.
No wall.
Nice one, listen. Reaper behind, Reaper on the car.
You definitely could have been a lot farther up. I think you know that.
They've used 2 ups
You
here.
are very low to the
Just
ground
die, I
for no
think.
reason.
We're down
Use your
to
max
3.
beam
Yeah.
range.
Okay, so what
Always.
else did they use?
Every chance you
Reaper,
can.
Sigma.
Bongo wasn't today? Was that their Bongo? Yeah, it was. Bongo,
Yeah,
Reaper, B. They're gonna have May out here.
Reaper's on the high ground, yeah? I heard him just now.
Okay.
Yep, he's up here. It's cleared off. I need to be more vigilant of the Reaper.
Got no hold. Watch the wall.
Is Reaper still above us?
No.
No, he's up main.
Halting
Are
them?
most of these, the rest of these, mostly pharmacy? You play a lot of pharmacy in this
For the
game?
attack, yeah. I think the next map.
the big one.
No, I think we run pharmacy
May
on
ulted?
Hollywood as well.
I'm fine. Me on me.
So once again, make sure damage boosting the barrage. because there's not too much more point to
That's what I said, right?
Can you hold them? so I
spend
can-
time vital viewing your pharmacy.
Now,
Yeah, that's
three?
fair.
Don't want to go over the same points, and it's not very
Ah, good.
Arissa.
unique.
Can you leave with you,
The
Justin?
situations. It's pretty consistent.
Leave with you.
Hold
Come
on,
to the
support.
right.
This is in our back line?
Arissa, Sigma. Nice.
We've won this.
You can play a bit more aggressive, Justin. They can't really kill you. Just take in mind that.
Over here, Justin.
Man, Moira.
That's only true in the fight.
You know when
If you
can look
position
at-
aggressively by yourself, you'll still die. They'll find a way.
I'm gonna bongo this like when they approach down this space. I'm gonna bongo.
I've been holding VAP for a while. We can VAP instead if you want.
We've got hold barrage as well here.
Which-
Ready?
I'm bongoing.
Hold
Just
that.
shoot the shoots. Just
Shoot shields.
we just want to zone them out.
Here's a situation where popping Valk just for the damage is huge. The amount of time they have to push up and touch the point, and you've already used Supercharger, if you stack your Valk with that damage, they are having to rush to cover a lot of distance while receiving a ton of information. If you stack damage boost from Valk on top of Supercharger, then you have Fara Rocket and Arissa Spam and Sigma. I think you ran Sigma.
Out here. Arissa's one.
That's good to know because
And did you use Coalescence here? Did they?
I can't recall.
Mind that.
Over here, Justin.
Man, Moira.
So
You know when you're gonna hold them still.
you can't see anything.
I know the Reaper is on the left because I heard him.
Sorry?
I know the Reaper is on the left because I heard him.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I heard him too. You are correct. So, with Mercy, this has been consistent. You don't focus on feeding yourself information. And so, game sense in Overwatch, it's a muscle that's grown, right? But it's solely dependent on the information you feed into your brain. So by playing the game, you get better at subconsciously looking around and seeing patterns in enemy movement that gives you the information you need to say, hey, they're playing pretty defensive, maybe Reaper's flanking, and then they speed boost in. Now you can assume that this Reaper is also pushing in, right? But it's impossible for you to have that information of when they push in because you're not even looking for them. So
Yeah, I could be further off to the right.
Yes.
I guess. Yeah.
You
I
could
think I was
even-
trying to use cover, but
You could take one step out and crouch, and you'd be fine. As Mercy, this is a pretty consistent problem. As the main support for your team, how are you supposed to ult track if you have no idea what their team is doing? Right, and we'll probably see it more in the rest of the VODs. It's a problem that you have a lot in team fights. Is you just cut off line of sight for yourself.
Another punch.
Yeah. I'm gonna bongo this like when they approach down this space. I'm gonna bongo.
I've been holding VAP for a while. We can VAP instead if you
Well,
want.
we've got hold barrage as well here. Ready?
I'm bongoing. Just shoot the shoots.
Right here, bongo.
Shields.
You see that aggressive Aressa shield? That's when you want to pop Valk. You stack Bongo and Valk just for shield break. It's really good.
We just want to zone them out here. Arissa's one.
Yeah,
Arissa's
it was
one.
their
Maybe.
call.
Subway, subway.
Mm.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we needed to hold them earlier. Just take damage quickly.
I don't know if your Valk would have saved that fight,
Alright.
but it would have helped.
Yeah.
And it
I've
still would
always
have been
been cautious.
I've got ult.
it still would have been worth trying, especially because now you're not even on Pharah and you should be on Lucio instead.
It's our last push.
Yeah.
So, mid everything.
Yep.
You're gonna have beat.
Yep,
At this point, it's not worth switching. You should just stay on Pharah unless they're hard countering you, which they're not.
Alright, call when you're going in.
It's not worth to switch for the last 30 seconds.
I got big one.
Oh, Lucio's dead. Huge.
Yep.
Sigma.
Oh, Mia, you're right, Arissa.
Arissa's one.
Wraith, Reaper, no Wraith.
Reaper.
Base on me.
May behind.
May.
Cart as well. Cart.
Oh,
Not proud of
that's
this.
risky.
Help me behind.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
How we not?
Reaper.
I'd say it was worth
Stay on
though.
the cart. Stay on the cart.
Trading Mercy for Reaper when you're on attack. You
Even
have
though
a
I'm the
Moira
only
as-
support.
Did Moira die?
Okay, later.
Yeah, Mori died.
Hey, Tracy, do you want to come back?
Mori
I
died
would
first,
say
and
I would
then
say
Reaper died.
maybe.
I was just worried that we wouldn't win the fight.
It wasn't worth going for because you had advantage.
Sorry.
Oh my god, fucking
Okay.
donkey, man.
If you had advantage,
Above.
think about your res this way. You have 6 people. 4, 5, 6. That's horrible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? And your man down. 1 dies. You take yourself out of the fight for 3-4 seconds while you res him, and that leaves your team in a 6v4.
Yeah.
Right? So is it worth before you res, you have to ask yourself if your team can handle a 6v4 for that time that you res. And so in that specific situation with the Reaper, your team did not need you to take yourself out of the fight because you had main advantage. Let's say it was with Moira dead and Reaper dead. Let's say you're 4v3. But then whenever you res, it makes it a 3v3. Whenever you whenever you res, you don't have any healers. So they have no healing whenever you're resing, which could be enough to lose the fight. What if those 3 on their team were 2 supports and their Reaper, who they just speed boost Reaper in with Moira heals, and he went right on your tanks and insta-killed them because you weren't there to heal them. And then you lost the fight because you got a res, even if you got it off successfully. So just something to keep in mind, the resources that you take away while going for a res. Reses, it's good to call for a soft reset from your team to kind of kite back, give you time to res, and then push back in after everybody has healed up.
Okay.
It's all very situational, and generally it's forgiving. Mercy reses are pretty forgiving. Just something to keep in mind.
Yeah. I think it's because I saw the ice block and
Reaper.
somebody died, and I thought, oh, this is a good time.
May.
Cart as well. Cart. Help me behind.
You just kind of forgot the May was there.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Reaper.
Stay on the cart. Whipping them away if you can. Good work, they're getting it.
Okay, later.
They still have heat.
Alright, Tracy, do you want to come back and spot?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop it. I was waiting for Justin to come out and spawn, but he got rest. Just sitting there.
Sorry.
Oh my god, fucking donkey, man.
Ulting above. No
Top
shield
right,
for a
Reaper
second.
top right.
In neutral fight, where your team is playing behind the shield, leave it on heal so that you get ult charge from it. Unless the only reason is if they have angles behind your shield and over it.
Chill.
Or if you see the shield close to breaking, then you want to switch to speed so that the Arista can reposition faster.
Ulting above again. No shield for 4 seconds. There's the shield.
You can wait this out.
I got no more. I got no
That was a
more
really good heal,
No
yeah.
more healing.
Yep.
Right click, just tap it.
Yeah.
Trying
Just
to
die.
see.
Just die, and we'll regroup.
For teleported.
They trained ults together,
Just
that's
spawn,
fine.
Get into spawn.
Oh yeah, it goes up pretty fast though. Cool. What a mean.
That was a really, really good fight for you. They used Cole, they used May ult. I think that's the only 2 they used, correct?
I think so, yeah.
So I haven't been ult tracking, but if they have Sigma ult, you need to do another drive push because you don't have beat. But if they don't, then it is winnable and you can engage with Cole, and then look for Gravity and Doom combo, which would be big.
You have time.
Mm-hmm.
You have time for that? Okay.
Alone in a fight, just tap right.
So we want to go quickly to get a dry push in build ults for
Mhm.
the very last bit. Okay.
Like-
Should we like? That's okay.
Yeah, you don't really have time for a dry push. 30 seconds, it's fine. But against Sigma ult, it's a pretty hard win condition. There's not much you can do against it. Between Blizzard, they used it 2 fights ago. No, they used it that fight. My bad.
They used it that far.
Yeah, they used Cole and Blizzard. If they do have Sigma ult with a supercharger, it's gonna be very hard to survive that without beat. And so, if they do have that, we'll see. We'll just watch and we'll see. The point is, taking a slow fight, or depending on what they have, engaging with Cole and then playing to build up your other 4 ults, really good.
Right, they've got no wall. They've got coalescence, we should push in with that. And then... No. Ripper will be top. Rip it up, rip it up, rip it up, rip it up, rip it up.
Good job.
Go on, coalescence, coalescence.
He used it. Decently bad situation. Good boop. Your team isn't ult stacking though.
We're on the right.
I don't know if your Sigma, Doom, or Reaper built their ults either. So. Good attempt.
Sigma might have.
Still characters.
Yeah.
I think he was on 75 or
It's
something.
a good attempt. It's like I said, if they have gravity and that's Blossom and their supercharger, it's just really hard to win that fight. So there wasn't much more you could have done except for having a faster .2 push, which only would have been possible by switching off pharmacy sooner.
If we get that, play a game. I know it.
Oh, they've got Mara?
You know, focusing.
Farah, yeah.
Can you hold me in? I can see if I can get a pick.
Yep, holding now. I've got no shield for 5 seconds though. Pay back, pay back, pay back.
Yep, let me know when you've got your next one.
Shield's going up, halting now.
Farah's over the top.
Yep. It's Mercy.
Farah's one.
Oh, she's scared.
Oh, wow.
Watch the base, watch the base. Do you want to push up and chase his base? Nice, nice.
And then you rock Mercy. Holy crap, that was actually nuts.
Where's the Mercy?
That shouldn't have happened, but I'm so glad it
There's
did.
Mercy
I've
behind
got no
the side.
cooldown.
Push him some more.
Call me Hanzo.
Okay, cool.
Don't die.
Back up, back up, back up. We've got no cooldowns. Round the building, round the building.
Yep, they're healing on now.
Oh, you out of juice, Tracy? How's your juice looking?
They got Hanzo now. They got Hanzo. Watch out.
Yep, no power.
Let me know
This Orisa shield. You have to shield that corner.
when you're holding.
Halting.
See. Ugh. This gap is really bad. Because see how big it is up here? And that's where the fire's going to be shooting through.
Now. Pulling them. No shield for 1 second.
Farah top left, Farah top
Shielding.
left.
Arisa,
Farah half,
Arisa,
Farah.
Arisa. One.
Yep, let me know when you're...
You almost
okay,
killed
okay,
her
okay.
again.
I got Fera.
Yep,
Split,
yep.
I'm split. Currently halting them now.
You take these heals.
Sigma.
Yep, yep.
Arisa.
Orisa first.
Sarissa.
Halting. Pulling them. Moira, no fade.
Refocusing first.
I'm dead.
Moira. No?
Where?
Gonna beat? Okay, I'm not gonna beat.
Moira, no fade. Moira, no
I feel
fade.
like I should have done that earlier rewatching it
Yes, you
now. Like when there
should.
were a couple more teammates alive.
Right. It is difficult though because you were getting kills.
No shield for 1 second.
Farah top left,
So
Farah
here-
top left. Farah half,
Arisa.
Farah.
One.
Yep, let me know when you're...
I got
Watch
Mercy.
out,
I got
watch
Fera. I
out.
got Fera. I got Fera.
Pick on Farah.
Yep, yep,
Split,
yep.
I'm split. Currently halting them now.
They res Farah.
You take these heals.
Right here would it have been bad because the Reaper is engaging on a flank. And if you would say that you're going to beat and we're going to engage with your speed boost, that would have been beautiful. Because you're not running pharmacy. That means at the good speech. The time that their pharmacy is in the air, if you use beat, which cancels them out, like they can't do anything whenever you beat, and then you hard engage and get value with that, you win the fight.
Sigma.
Yep, yep.
Arisa.
Doom dies.
Orisa
Betrayed.
first.
Sarissa.
Right here would have been the time to use it. Because
Yeah.
you're pushed up, you're not immediately getting value, and the pharmacy is going to be doing a lot of damage.
Halting.
Yeah.
Pulling them. Moira, no fade.
Refocusing first.
I'm dead.
Moira.
And then here, I probably thought, is it worth it? I think, are we going to just lose?
Once you
And
see
then I thought,
this,
maybe I don't want to lose.
once you see that King's Row first point defense is a point where you would expect to lose it. especially once you cap attack first, and you know that you are going to survive. That's a point where you definitely expect to lose it, and you are more okay and content with saving ults.
Yeah.
They fade. No, okay.
No.
Back up, back up. I've got
Yeah, yeah.
nothing. I'm out of juice, I'm out of stuff.
I'm out of juice.
Fuck, that's...
I don't know
This
really
is a map
Let me
where
know when
wall
your
riding
cooldown's
is
back
a
up.
little bit less necessary,
Yeah. Halting.
Okay, that's good
just
to know.
because of the geometry and how much cover you have.
Stunt.
The second you see your teammates die, just get out. Go full back.
Alright, let me know when you're halting again.
I'm dead, I'm dead.
Ellie,
Be fed.
We've got a long way to back up.
It's like you're shaving it.
Slowly but surely.
That's a weird chamber.
Okay.
It won't
Who are
kill
they saying?
now.
Okay.
No pill.
Nearly all here?
Are we gonna recontest this?
Yes.
yeah, we
yes, we are.
We
You
have
can
hold
go in
and
with
we have,
coalescence.
I'm
yeah, we
gonna...
have hold with the
Farah's
thing.
above,
Oh,
Farah's
shit,
above.
I'm just being threaded.
You want to combo coalescence with your supercharger, especially into pharmacy.
Okay.
It's basically damage boosting the coalescence to deal a lot more damage. It helps a lot, and it's a lot more valuable than you'd think. Engaging with those
Well,
two
with double
alone,
shield.
yes. Engaging with those two alone forces so many cooldowns.
Threaded, just chill.
Yep.
Wait.
Now bait for this.
Pumps on the cart.
oh, no one's even
On the
calling
top right, on the top right.
It's like a robot.
Which ults did you use?
Alright, got that.
Oh no. Hmm. That's
Do we
where
need to,
using supercharger, setting on a shield would have been very
Something
helpful.
to do with the Farah. Going pretty much unchecked. This could be a good point for Good though.
Yeah. Even, oh my god, I got two.
Gonna need to get in there really soon. Maybe
Kree is the
Yeah, we're
pick.
gonna have to like...
Pray it works.
Vampy
Kree?
Kills,
Okay.
maybe.
We have to be touching like all the
Actually, they're playing Hanzo, so Hanzo Farah, what it does good is it forces additional angles that your two shields can't cover. So if you have Orisa shield here blocking, let's say, Hanzo fire, and then they have Pharmacy up here firing down, and they have Sigma shield, then you can't block their Orisa as well, who is getting a third angle. And that's how the Hanzo Farah is kind of meant to be played. As Sigma, you want to deploy your shield on the sniper who is taking off angles. And if you do that, then you can't worry about the Farah. So, playing against that, a much higher skilled team would just be able to group defensively and hard engage through it with Doom Reaper. Widow's not a bad pick if your Widow is good because the pharmacy is overextending and you can punish that. Kree would be really good if they were running a Doom instead of a Hanzo. You could play for Shield Break because they're playing for angles. It just depends on your Kree. It depends on the individual skill. It's a really difficult situation, and it's meta. Doom Reaper is not what you want to run though. You want to focus on sustain. Using Bongo Coalescence is really good because you can focus either the Hanzo or the Mercy or the Farah. Really good. Switching to BAP and Moira is also really good. Gives you some extra sustain, not to mention the BAP being able to contest the pharmacy. That's probably the switch I'd recommend. Going Kree Reaper with BAP Moira. That would probably be the best play.
What's now?
It's an additional defensive ult that you have 12 seconds instead of every
Hanzo half
5
Just
with
to test the
Lucio.
payload.
Yeah. So a question about the Bat Moira. I don't think I'm gonna like the answer. So Lucio Moira was a good pick initially. Is that right?
Lucio Moira is really good for hard engaging with Reaper Doom. The problem is, it's really hard to do. To pull off a successfully timed hard engage, to have your Reaper teleport in the back line at the same time you hard engage from the front, and to pinch that way, and to get the kills and then still be able to sustain and heal through the pharmacy after that. It's very doable, and you almost did it first point.
I asked because I can play. I'm really confident in all of my supports except for BAP.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy, the other support player, is fine to play BAP and actually plays it really well. But he was playing Moira on that map.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the timing was right, we could just switch, and I go Moira and he goes BAP. But
You are a main support,
when's that
correct?
gonna happen? Right?
You're main support, correct? Yeah. So, BAP is a support that main supports flex to. He isn't the ideal hero pool for flex supports because he is a very aim-intensive hero. But he is a hero that is kind of like Tracer in a way, where everybody can learn Tracer and it's a good pick to have, right? As a support, though, BAP is always combined with Zen, flex support, a Mercy, main support, right? He goes back and forth to who he's combined with. So definitely pick him up. BAP, from a main support perspective, is pretty straightforward. It's very timing intensive with your immortality. Just serving the scene, staying in the back of your team, realizing when you need to use it the best. BAP is very resource managed, like it's very heavy on resource managing.
Okay.
So you play Mercy good. It's the same thing, but just laid out differently. You should be fine. I would suggest picking him up though.
That's good. That's fine. I was worried that you're going to say that I like have to learn him, and I might be expected to play him in compositions. The other compositions.
I would pick him up for sure. It helps.
I'm very confident in my Zen. Maybe
Your
even
Zen,
more so
wow.
than my Lucio. So when we play Zen BAP, I play Zen.
Like Symmetra.
Interesting.
I don't know. So those of us.
We'll be scouting.
If I had to rate my competency on the supports, I'd probably go Mercy, Zen,
You're just positioned.
Ana, Lucio.
Mercy Zen Lucio.
Mercy, Zen, either Ana or Lucio. Bit of a toss-up. I'm pretty confident on my Ana.
Too bad Anna's not too good right now. Sad face.
Yeah,
I like
no.
Anna.
Yeah, same.
They do have a bastion. Okay, cool.
So we broke the passion.
I wanna go and get behind them.
Yeah. So
You wanna
just-
go?
I feel like we did really badly on
We'll
this
wait for the
map,
call
but
from Vizra and
yeah.
let me know when you guys.
We gotta go main first at least, right?
Yeah, I need to. Oh boy.
I have May as well. Can't stay here.
Oh, they're all the way up there. Okay.
I'm gonna just go.
Just wait.
That's not too good.
I was gonna say, yeah, that look, we gotta prove it.
Your team was planning before you scouted. Your shot caller, he was calling where to rotate, what the plan was, how to engage, and then he goes, "Oh, they're all the way up there." So just in general, especially as pharmacy, you should get. You're far and new in the first 10 seconds. Whenever she was poking at gate, that needs to be communicated, so that it's not 30 seconds into the game whenever you finally understand what you're up against.
Yeah, that was
I've
some,
used leap, so we've got to wait at least 3 seconds.
I'm underneath the mic.
I'm super low.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm in position. We're just waiting for you to stand up.
Thank you.
We got him.
Nice.
On,
So
Mercy,
no,
Mercy,
res.
Mercy.
Good dive, but do you see how much more aggressive you could have played with the pharmacy? It's your Far's fault, but just so you can see.
Yeah,
Your,
well, something I can
your
communicate,
Genji
so.
engaged, your Winston jumped in, and if you went closer, that's less time that your rockets are traveling, that's more DPS. And so, it's okay to aggress that far in, because your Genji and your Winston have all the focus on them. You fired maybe 2 rockets that
I'm
fight.
on the Mercy. Mercy. Mercy.
Hell yeah, I have.
Mercy is literally one. Nice.
I was gonna say, I was like, no.
We've lost. There's only 3 of us.
Okay, just
So your entire team is on point.
This is
As Farah, you should be playing much more aggressive, pushing that advantage that you got by killing the Bastion
soft reset.
and
If we can
hunting those kills.
Don't go in aggressive, Justin. I can res you. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good res.
Bastion coming, Justin. Bastion coming here. Can we get
Monka, shake Bastion. Run.
focus the
I'm
Bastion?
ready.
There's a Mercy here. Mercy.
Oh, Greg. Yeah, I know, great. Now I get to get max W.
Maze on top
I
left.
slept Bastion.
Cool.
Yep.
I'm going Baptiste.
Can't get through me, that's great.
I'm on.
Here for you, Justin.
Maze free.
Why are all the hits getting yours first? This
I
sucks.
just got shredded. Bastion is back left.
There's not
Like,
much target
I really
calling.
can't
There's
get killed 'cause I'm
there's
so
no
lazy.
hard engagements being called from your team. There's no 3-2-1s. There's no diving Bastion. It's kind of just get on the point and see what happens.
Commit. I think we commit.
Arista 1.
Your tanks were on the point way before your
Nice.
DPS were.
Big.
It was a big barrage though. Holy crap.
Yeah, well,
Okay, so the
I
problem
was like,
is you went in alone.
What about-
Stun was just getting freeze, and there's no communication.
Oh,
between
okay.
you.
It's still okay with Val.
Stun was just
I would
like,
have Val.
Have Bastion.
getting
They
zoned
have
out
Doom.
somehow.
Oh no, they have Doomfist McCree. No,
Got
Doomfist
my ult
Reaper.
here.
Oh, thank.
Okay, so I think we wait for the nano. Don't.
Did you Valk before the barrage or after?
Wow.
slightly before, I think. I think I said let's engage, and then he barraged. I said let's engage, about then he barraged.
Oh, you stole
See,
my kill.
only
Oh,
now is
wow,
your far
that's
at
kinda
getting
nuts.
line of sight and getting value in the kill feed, and your monkey's already dead.
No, I knew me. Let's get value.
I think we commit.
They got a kill.
Arista 1.
Yeah.
So it's very similar timing.
Your Valk was late. You should have Valked before the monkey even died, but you weren't ready to heal him yet. So, you and Farah were out of position.
Nice.
And I blame you and the Farah, but I also blame the tanks for never calling when.
Okay, so the problem there is you went in alone. Stun was just getting freeze, and there's no communication.
Oh, I should have hit shift.
That's why. Stun was just
They
like
still have Bastion.
getting
They
zoned
have
out
Doom.
somehow.
Oh no, they have Doomfist McCree. No,
Got
Doomfist
my ult
Reaper.
here.
Okay, so I think we wait for the nano. Don't force this. We wait for the nano, and then we go in, and if that doesn't work, we switch to double shoot.
You
Good call.
suck.
This is a really good call.
Hey, Lawrence. Oh, I just got a no reg. This game's great.
I have nano already.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Need to res
Okay.
that.
You should definitely try to
Back
res
up,
that.
back
Oh, I'm reloading. Please, Greg. Why, dude?
Oh, switch phrasing.
Oh
Okay.
I'm
god.
gonna have ult.
Okay, just back up. Back up.
What happened?
Ooh.
I have nano already.
Look, whatever helps you sleep at night.
That's really
Back
getting
up,
you
back up,
fed.
back up.
I need to res that.
You went for the res
They're
and...
pushing.
You're 1 health.
Oh,
Oh
switch
my
phrasing.
god.
Okay.
I was the one
so lucky.
Okay, just back up. Back up.
Have to swap to the.
I'm ulting you. Okay.
You should
Yeah, I
swap
think we'll just
off
go with the
once
nano.
Right,
you do your
literally
mouse.
just rolled me, dude. I hate this hero so much. I can't lose. My ego's at stake.
Oh my gosh. We need
Yeah,
to, we
we
need to
should.
shut him up.
I think it was called to do one dive. One engage. I think they didn't swap because they didn't actually go in.
Yeah. It's not worth going in now that they're on Doom Reaper though.
Reaper's top of
Fair enough.
You're just feeding ults.
Where's Baptiste?
This.
Well, the rest of this map is. The rest of
Oh,
this
no.
attack is pretty bad.
God.
Yep.
Well, this
Baptiste
shit
on the
doesn't
right,
kill
we're just
for
gonna
us. I'm
go
have
with
literally
Baptiste.
another blizzard because I can't get a kill on May.
Good dive, so far so good.
Reaper, he's gonna come in.
Defensive Sigma ult.
Oh, I set Reaper behind. I set Reaper behind. Don't worry about him.
There we go.
Oh, Rissa. Just gonna. I've got it.
Reaper coming out main. Reaper coming out main right now.
Dude,
Booped him back. He's got no defense.
Don't face, don't face, don't face. Oh my god.
You need to be on point. There's only 2 on
Be on point.
Yes. Right here, yes, you're safe, but you're 5v1. And whenever you could maybe have already had this tick if you're on point.
Moment.
Doomfist. Reaper.
I'm so
Crowd
upset,
protect
dude.
our Ana.
Okay.
I'm dead. Alright, regroup. We've got
Reaper's one.
tick.
Reaper's.
That was. a
I'd be
little bit
interested to
unusual
know
for you.
if I'd be interested to know if they were contesting while I was up the top. How
The enemy team?
long the point was
I
uncontested.
said Ripple behind. I said Ripple behind. Don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
we'll look.
Oh, Rissa,
Yeah,
Rissa, Rissa.
I saw that.
So just for your mercy play, the biggest good that you have that most plat players, diamond players do not have is how quickly you heal your teammates. You're normally really quick to respond to low health teammates, switching targets and managing resources.
Hell yeah.
This
boys.
fight, you
That's
do
what we
really
call
bad.
teamwork right there.
So, let's go.
So you're late to the
I've got it, I've got
diva.
it.
Sigma.
Ripple coming out main. Ripple.
Your positioning is pretty bad. Where you're looking is pretty bad. You don't see the point that you're standing
Coming out
on.
main right now.
I think I was focused on getting to that high
Yeah,
ground.
you're focused on getting to the high ground and point off the super jump. And so your Ana was not full HP before she got punched. Your Diva's still not full HP.
Don't be. Oh my god.
Your Ana would have died anyways, but she was not full HP before. And then you relate to the
That's
Diva.
fair.
Autopiloted on a res whenever your team needs health.
Reaper,
Thanks,
Reaper,
Ryan.
Reaper.
I appreciate you.
Flew to the Pharah, who's full HP whenever your monkey and whoever that is was already low.
Yeah, of
Help
course.
protect our
She's
Ana.
busted.
Go for her, them first. They're on
I
monkey's
knew
back.
you were gonna do it, Greg.
Yeah,
You
you're
suck.
right.
I don't know, Liv, it's okay.
Usually I'm pretty good with
Reaper,
triaging.
Yeah, normally you're
Considering
good.
you-
So I don't know what happened in that fight.
Out, I
We're
guess.
swapping off.
Okay,
Sorry?
we've got a chicken and a half. You know, it's not bad.
Just botted out.
I think.
Alright, so we commit.
Yep.
See
Yes.
if
Oh,
it
that's
continues
you.
though.
I'm gonna put
Yep.
shield on their side of the
Let's do
Rissa
teams.
shield.
Good Valk.
Oh, fuck off.
You
Why
can
do you
all
say
get
that?
in one
Let's just
kill.
do that then.
Justin,
Yeah, sure.
Doom's back. Doom's back. Hear that?
mine's fine. No more ults. So many. No more ults.
Reaper, Reaper,
Yeah, we
Reaper.
can do that.
Why did you fall down? I don't understand. So much control there.
Time to switch off Mercy.
Yeah, for Reaper.
Oh, this is it. Look at this squad, dude.
We want to run Lucian.
They do, dude. Alright.
Go back.
I'm actually gonna do it.
That.
That would be huge. Not with Ana. You
They
should
actually
switch off
don't
Ana
have
now.
a Sigma, so we actually can win the shield war.
Nano's not going to do you any good. They have Lucio Moira, which means they have decent sustain. But if you went Bap Moira, you'd have even better sustain. You can walk down main, and whenever their Doomfist Reaper teleport in a punch, you can just throw down Immortality.
You guys need heals, it's your fault.
They reposition, you take space on the point. Bap is greatly better. Unless you were going to play Doom Reaper and play too hard
Oh,
engage,
Grandmaster guy. Hey, guys.
which isn't.
Probably still switch off the Ana there,
It
wouldn't we?
actually would be really good because they're on Diva.
Okay.
Diva's free. Diva's a free kill. For Doom and Reaper. You should
Oh my
play
God, too
just
bad,
Metacomp
dude.
and destroy the
Wait,
Diva.
Greg, what are
She's
the
free.
shots?
This.
Good stuff.
So we can actually play this slower because we win over time here.
The reason why I was saying Bap over Lucio is because, especially if you go right, there's no rotating that
It
needs
won't
to
do anything, we can
be boosted. So just having
Greg,
more
don't do it.
sustain on point, the immortality, increased health, it helps. It's a bigger advantage.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
We
put
wanna
shield.
shoot the shields.
3, 2, 1.
Reaper above, Reaper above,
Oh, I forgot that.
So you got contested.
Reaper above,
Clutch?
Reaper above.
Clutch?
Lagging, sorry.
You should
Where's the pistol, Sam?
wall right up to him on this side of the choke
You can
and
do
knock him down, and
Buff.
then
Okay,
then he
okay.
forces Wraith.
Get out, first, get out.
Don't think I ever do that. And then we find their Doomfist impresses us pretty much all match
If that's the case, we can just
the rest of our attack.
Reaper.
We don't progress any further on the point.
Yeah, sorry. I was saying.
Fine.
So is it worth reviewing?
Actually, it's safe. We did it with
How
these.
much longer do
Probably
you
not.
stay on Ana?
Probably not.
Collins on full
You could have a look at the fence if you want, but I feel like we got rolled pretty hard there.
I'll take it down.
Yeah, you need to get off the Ana. You're not gonna have any
We
heals.
need to, go forward.
Yeah,
Okay, now you're on Moira. We can
I
watch.
need to get that Victory Royale.
Lucio's pushed pretty aggressively. I'm gonna push.
Why are you
might wanna
rotating
go
that way?
Right. You might want to go right. Expecting us
No,
You
take
can't
too long
argue. You have to go
actually.
touch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Sam's on back.
Oops, and I also didn't go in
Yeah.
early enough.
You're good.
What?
Let's take a look at the other bot,
Kill you the first one.
Yeah, that's a good
You
idea.
charge.
which I need to upload real quick.
And the other one I
The
played,
charge was the big.
Shiro Mercy and Anna.
Oh, I know. Woo! Yay! Yeah, that's the strat ones. Yeah, Roadhog is literally, the only reason he has more HP than Murder is because he's fat. That's all it is. No, Murder has 500, Roadhog has 600. Debatable.
I didn't do a live room.
I'm not counting all of it.
Did you want a live session? Are you still in it?
17. Work. The people who are doing these on the team are 8.
Sorry, say again?
I'm trying to
Yo, we gotta go into quick play so we can get the.
fix this. Should be
Sam,
good.
oh, Sam's on. I picked the worst time
Check
to
your
be
DMs.
Oh,
Sent you
just,
a
you better have your
link.
E down alerts. Oh my god.
Hey Zach.
Yeah, I know. I'm still by 2 people.
Zach.
Oh, she's.
Oh, he.
Oh, I did. He stung me. I got double flash.
Yep, that's
dude.
got the god on it.
Okay, cool.
That's the absolute worst. That's literally unlucky. Alright. Greg.
Lucio.
Thank you. Lawrence, pick the best hero in the game that you picked the other round where we won. Very good.
Comps where a lot more mistakes are made
Yeah.
I'm so washed. I'm also eating this.
because it's less streamlined, a lot more free flow. Yeah.
Ball
Pink
point.
test.
We can't lose.
Doing ball things.
Oh,
Coming through on the back.
yeah, yeah.
Tracer.
Tracer, right? No, defend on point.
Greg!
Get up high ground with your team.
I was like, help me!
Yeah.
The second you see Doom and Ball and this comp that they're running, Tracer especially, get on walls, make yourself hard to hit.
Tracer that. Again.
Oh god, I'm getting destroyed.
You're out.
Oh, Sam's one! Yes!
Doing fist behind. Doing fist behind. Doing cooldowns.
Can this Doomfist please fuck off?
Kill the doom.
Yeah! Oh, 3K Lawrence!
Okay, so what? I know this
Are
is
you
comp.
in
Are you
control,
solo
right?
queuing?
Sorry?
Heck yeah.
Are
Am
you
I-
solo queuing?
It's
Solo queuing.
Kill the doom.
Okay, so solo queue Lucio, you have to read it if you want to
Okay.
climb. You have to be able to get kills.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, bud.
You want to be a healer
Oh.
and a DPS. You want to make it seem like your team has 7 people compared to the other team's 6.
I like that pocket, Greg.
So in order for you to be able to have any sort of impact, which also helps you build your ult faster, right? As of right now, you're pretty much positioned in the middle of your team, which is fine. Like you're positioned pretty well.
That's what I was like.
You're playing as if you were on your
Yeah, no,
team.
it's a good- that's a good
The problem is your team in scrims would be grouped and looking to push on a target, kill this Doom, etc. And instead, you are playing this comp game where you're sitting in the middle of your team and you have 1, 2, 3 people like off the screen, how split they are. So they're not even in your AoE.
No!
You're not getting max value as Lucio. Your team's not calling anybody. They're not getting any kills. And so you're just delaying your inevitable loss of this point by not really doing anything. So what you can do is this Doom's right in front of you. Hard commit to him. Chase him down. So there's the Boop. go up after him. Just if he's about to come back down and seismic slam onto your team, you can contest him and then drop, and then go back up.
Oh, I messed up the jump.
Oh, there you go.
Dude.
Okay, as I was saying.
All
right. Just,
It's the execution.
yeah, you should have seen that coming, but
Push up, push up.
all good.
Don't know Lucio at the moment.
Yes, 3-3. Alright, we got a quick play. My ninja's bastard is gonna. Yay! No, whoa, that's toxic!
Get the fuck out. Yeah, we should all
Is there
defend
a ball
on point,
behind?
to be honest.
So they're gonna come and roll behind
Yeah,
us.
yeah, they're all behind us. Like, I don't know.
He's really
That's
bad.
brilliant.
Good boop.
Yeah, I heard him from when I was respawning, and I'm like, did I hear a ball or is it?
So you want to reposition to get back to your team. The best way to do that is just right.
Right. Yeah.
Not necessarily wall right, but just get on top of here, which is also just good scouting information. You get to see where they're rotating in front.
Yeah.
Person high ground, you're ignoring. You're completely ignoring her.
Defend on point, defend on point.
You sorry? Zen is on the right with the Moira. Can we push right?
Ooh, dangerous. That's really dangerous. Good positioning. Until Sigma puts up his shield, you can't expect it to be there.
Okay.
You were positioned out here with no shield. It was very risky because if you die, especially with beat, you lose. You have to play pretty safe. This is why Sigma's Zarya is pretty bad, despite what plats think. So whenever you beat, two things. One, you want to call a target so that your team can use your beat to get value on. Unless you're using it defensively for like a Sigma ult where you can't, you want to call a target that you can push on. Secondly, you do heal while the shields are active. Shields don't give you health, they just add on to it. So you have missing health the second you beat. And so your healing will add on to their health while the shields are there. So any damage they take won't take away from their health, but will actually take away from the shield. So you can use your beat as a way to buy free time to heal your team back up to full. So with this beat, they're all crit, and it's a sustained beat. You want to put it on heals. You can't call a target because you're using trends. You want to be on heals right now. How did you kill Sombra?
I need help so bad.
And you put
yeah, good question.
you amp heals and you switch to speed.
Where is that? Get Sigma in there.
This is where you needed to switch to speed.
Okay.
Right here. Stationary targets, they are locked, they can't move. And you are moving at a set speed in a straight line, strafing while shooting at them. What you want to be doing is more or less 80 strafing, kind of like this, switching from speed to heal as you go up. Focus on the Moira's head, killing the Moira. Oh no, I clicked off.
and me. Okay. You're like no heals. You. it's like you're gonna put in the team too, right? Nope.
That's my fault.
I
Is
want
this
to
where
say
it is? No, it's before.
Don't be mad.
Where was it?
That's a good question.
Was it here?
After this. A bit after this.
After this.
I know.
That's it.
Top right.
It wasn't this.
No, this was after the beat. I reckon. I don't think we've seen that yet.
Slow. Top right.
Oh,
Top right.
we'll go from here.
Watch out, Lucio.
Good
It's
bump
so
on
annoying.
Lucio.
yeah.
On heals, fine,
Go
guys.
for the
I'm on
safe.
energy.
Got last.
Thank you for the save.
Han's on one. That's okay. Sam, you're DPSing?
This is where it is your sole purpose as a main support. To see the Reaper here, to see Zarya way over there, see Sigma way pushed up. And it's your job, to group them up. Get them back together. They're lost, you need to bring them home. Look at this. It's bad. You are throwing by not telling them to group bound point. You have information that your team needs that we are going to lose if we don't come back to point and regroup.
I'm gonna immortality this corner here.
I'm
Good.
gonna save it for after
Well, it's on bubble you whenever you get out. I told you.
Watch out for getting
Lucia,
into.
any chance we can get you on maybe
No. It's huge.
potentially a stronger healer to
I got stunned on my
Who cares about the objective?
Oh, that's yeah.
Okay.
Nothing you could do there.
Can you go?
So,
Can you go?
you need to communicate more. You're pretty vocal in scrim.
Yeah,
Be
I do.
vocal in call. That helps.
Moira?
Yeah,
Moira
I'll
be
go
strong.
Moira.
Thanks.
It'll help you climb. It'll help you end scrims, get confidence, and improve your ult tracking.
Whoa! You can't say that, dude.
It'll help you in a lot of areas.
Because I didn't EMP. Did
Kevin, watch out! Move out of there! Move!
This is important, by the way. I'm asking them about EMP.
That was so funny.
Sorry?
That was actually
I said this is important. I asked them if they used EMP, and they said they did.
No, they used
And I didn't think that they did use EMP. I decided to trust my teammates. And I'm telling them we can't group up if they've got EMP.
on the
She goes.
Guys,
Yeah, they might have told you.
but someone said they.
You need to be healing. The second that EMP goes off,
That's
it's
true.
all about survival.
Yeah, Greg did it.
What after you recover, if you survive the EMP, then you come back to play your cooldowns and you can win the fight.
No, it was funny because you were
Getting a
like
kill
that.
before
He
that
was,
doesn't
"Oh,
matter."
spammer, okay, and he just charged in.
And you should
I
just
was like,
kill your feet to keep your team that's in the grab alive.
He's out
I
though.
used it. Very important
Yeah,
question.
cause it's Umbra, charge it down.
Oh, I didn't have ball lost 1 second.
Get the
No.
point on.
Get it.
Also, that fade, there's no reason to use it.
Yeah.
Get the point, Reaper, please.
I love how
That's
first
a
off, first
problem a lot of
play,
Moiras
it's
have,
literally not-
where it's, oh, I'm gonna receive damage, I need to use my fade, actually use it.
Point right now.
Yeah. When there's a better time to use
Yeah,
it.
or whenever you're like 1 HP, and it's almost like a bait. They think they're gonna kill you, then you fade, and it's like, oh, we gotta shoot this Moira for longer.
I get mail.
I'm gonna grab this photo.
Fucking. Oh, God, I hate hack.
That would have been a good time to fade, was to fade
Okay,
to the
to
ball.
get through the shield.
Well,
Yeah.
your ball
So I could heal him
was
sooner?
your ball was here, moving across point this way, and whenever you come out here, the second you see this, you want to fade here, and be moving with your ball this way, so that you're behind your ball. Your ball's tanking for you, and you're healing them.
I did want to heal him, but the shield was in the way at
There
the
is a
time.
fade somewhere.
Because if you would have kept that ball
Kevin,
alive,
hold W.
you could have kited out, given them 2 ticks, and then he would have come back touched. You would have still been alive, and then you would have bought time for Monkey to get back. Now you have 3 on point,
Yeah.
and you would probably be close to your ult.
Oh god.
Still winnable.
Oh no.
Hold on, okay.
Just die.
No.
Yeah,
That's
you,
fine. I did that.
When a rip.
let's go.
No.
Friendly bubble.
Good
Okay.
speed.
Watch the widow on the right.
Oh,
side.
Your end shouldn't have charged. That was pretty bad. Who do you speed onto? Who is your called target?
Friendly bubble.
Okay.
The tanks, I think.
Okay.
Why
Then I
does
called out, watch out for
he?
the
Why
widow.
is he pinned?
Get in there, get in there, get in there.
Ah,
Yes,
dude.
Go, go,
You
go.
engage. You swing.
Watch the widow
Oh,
on the
That was
right.
a big, that was a big anti on everyone.
Playing Ryan. I know that one of the
Yeah,
tanks
yeah.
was like pretty much just an off-tank play. I can't remember if it was the Ryan
Don't worry,
this
she's
round or not.
flanking up.
Yeah, that's just a hard
Bit of angst
reset.
amongst the tank players.
You need to be calling to your teammates to die and reset.
Because they're worth the play. Right, once they're all trained, you're gonna use the rolls.
Follow me, gentlemen.
This is called
You
staggering.
should retreat.
Oh, no, we good.
Oh, yeah, man. Okay, yeah, tell me. Yeah, go ahead.
Dum, above. Let's go.
Oh, help me. Nice, good kills. I got Farah. Oh boy, am I done? Oh, I'm actually kind of okay.
Hey,
Nice.
let's
Good
go.
job.
Alarm.
Don't have to be
She's
first.
in the back, just leave her, just leave
A
her.
few of
You
us
need to say that
go
sooner.
floor left, with a floor left.
So,
If I call let's go,
This
then I
is-
should tell them I don't have speed.
yes, right here is where it's your job as a Lucio
Watch out,
to
Kevin,
be in
rolling.
charge. Okay? So,
Oh, big!
you punish just Doomfist, right?
Mon Mercy, set on point.
Doomfist comes in, you punish him. Right here, you need to say,
Nice! Let's
wait,
go!
5 seconds, 6 seconds. Wait, 6 seconds and we'll speed in on
Good
right.
job.
That's your job to say that. Because otherwise, your team just assumes you have a pick, we're going to push.
Try
It's
assist
your
it.
responsibility the second that kill comes through
Oh no, this
to
is
be
so
in charge
sad.
because you have the contingency of the push. If Ryan had no shield, then you'd say wait for my shield. If Moira had no heals, she'd say wait for my heals. You follow? You have a responsibility to your team to communicate the information that they need of, hey, we cannot take this fight.
Hey,
Nice.
let's go.
Good pick.
Don't have to be first. A few of us
Oh,
are anti. Go
man.
floor left, with a floor left.
Oh shit.
Just retreat from them, retreat from them.
You lose because this Ryan's pinning, you haven't told him to stop pinning, and you lost because your team did not speed in with the Ryan.
I don't like this Ryan.
Tell them what to do. People are dumb. They need to be told what to do. Good boot. It's not gonna matter, I don't think.
Oh, oh, fuck their widow.
Yeah, yeah. Who would ever
Don't
think
go in, they've
that?
got walls. They've got walls and we
Yeah,
waiting
we
for people
go,
to
we
come
go.
back.
Trying to deal with the widow on fucking wall, because I'm better on wall.
It's not working. So.
The only problem is they've
It's
got
not
a...
working. I killed 3 of their back fine.
No, you come on, bitch.
You didn't call to your team that you're beating?
Yeah. And I regretted it as soon as I realized that they had grabbed. But then they grabbed and I was like, oh, maybe it's not so
Oh,
bad.
no.
Get this Moira.
The beat was fine, but you
I
wanted to
should have
call to your
called it.
team. What you should have done is gotten your team to group here. Count down 3, 2, 1. Drop the beat and speed boost in. That way you have all 6 in a group like this pushing in with 4,000 HP. Right? And that forces them to either kite back or take a fight here that they're going to lose. And if they do kite back, then you gain space, and then the next fight they can't kite back and you have to fight for point.
Nice,
Okay.
nice pin on the Ryan.
Yeah, we're going in. We're going in.
On your team, your
Just
Orisa
widow top left.
calls those chokes for you. It's something that you should
No.
definitely be aware of.
I don't want.
Yep.
But she's
One.
not healed.
This widow is such a...
Keep it on speed if your Ryan's antied, because what that does is it allows him to jump back and shield damage, and jump back and shield damage, and block the angles that's going to be dealing the damage to him easier. And you also get speed on yourself. You're full health, so there's no reason to heal.
Pain.
Can you play like Diva or Winston? Like if you're gonna play Dire.
I don't play Diva.
Oh, this guy.
Kill the widow.
I'm terrible at Diva.
Trash can player.
Someone kill the widow.
Fuck. Nice.
This Ryan now, get this Ryan.
Yeah, the Ryan can
You
do.
should have booped
The
that
widow's on the
Ryan.
ground on the right.
Should have,
Booped him.
should not have booped him.
You should have.
Nice.
Oh, sorry, where was it?
Right here. Once Hammond knocks him up,
Yeah, okay.
that's when you should boop.
Ryan now, get this Ryan.
Yeah, the Ryan can die.
The widow's on the ground on the right, with a ground right.
Oh, you motherfucker.
That's right, you're good. You're
Look
good.
at that wall riding. Holy crap. Look.
Yeah, the Ryan can die.
The widow's on the ground on the right, with a ground right.
Oh, you
Nuts.
motherfucker.
1, 2, 3.
That's right, you're good. You're good.
Anna.
Just do that all the time.
Moira now.
Can you imagine if that entire time your team was sitting at choke and they couldn't do anything? If you did
Oh my
that
God, you're
and you
gonna
amp
make
speed
this.
and you went straight for the Widowmaker and then you 1v1 during Coder and then did the exact same thing back to Choke and said, heck of the Widow, now we go in. You know how much
It
higher
sounds
your
pretty
SR would
meta.
be? You know how much higher your SR would be? About 1,000 points.
Right, just write that down. Be more badass on Lucio.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, I guess.
And I'm not encouraging Reddit Lucioing. All I'm saying is
I don't understand.
use your
Whatever you
mechanics,
can.
especially in comp.
Let's push in.
You have to
Nice
Reddit
and quick.
Lucio to climb,
Well, they've got respawn anyway, so.
but just don't get in the habit of it.
They've got walls.
Go.
They behind me.
Where you positioned as Lucio in scrims was good. You just should have wall ride more so you're not dying to random dude punches. Right? But where you position, as far as right behind your Rhine and right in front of your main heals, is good. You want to be able to, if this is you and this is Reinhardt, if a Reaper is on your Reinhardt, you want to be in range so that you can use your boop and knock him away. Right? Like that being the cutoff. You want to be this distance between your main tank. That's the distance you want to have. But then also with your support in the back line, you want them to be inside your ring of healing. So that's your position as Lucio. A little bit closer to the front, but make sure your team's not split.
They used to
That
ult,
XP
so
was
don't
so
use
huge.
I'm getting a lot of value out of the Ana. I think I might go Ana.
I got shadow,
Well, don't go on right now, please.
Got a bit coming up there.
Okay, good.
I wasn't going to switch
Okay,
off with
good,
that
good,
much
good,
on
good,
chat.
good. Scared me. I said, oh no.
Can you actually get a like, I'm just
Yeah.
too hard to play tank by myself.
I think I'm just waiting and I'm not sure what. That was a bit dumb.
Here you are.
I think I was thinking.
That's just need to get a useful beat off.
Yeah, dead.
Alright, we can go in if you want.
Do you have shadow?
I wouldn't have used amp there. Instead of using amp, which is like, so let's put it this way. The amount of time it would take for your Moira to heal this team is less time that it would take for you to get your beat off cooldown.
That's the thing. I have trust issues with co-supports.
Right. And so that's why you communicate and you tell the team to back up and wait for Moira to heal them.
Yep.
It's very, very, very important. Even in scrims, that's important to do.
In scrims, I'm like, oh, someone on my team is low. I could go heal them as Mercy, but I trust my Moira to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Speeding behind. Him on the right.
Which is, I think you have too much trust in scrims to a degree. You need to peel more, and we kind of saw that with how defensive your pharmacy plays.
Oh, big boo.
You're not in the fight enough, and so you're a little bit too trusting.
Oh, it's so horrible.
Pharmacy, misconception about pharmacy. This is your team. This is your pharmacy. The two of you shoot down damage, right? And then the rest of your team just kind of plays a little bit more defensive into their 6, right?
I don't have that.
It should actually be a little bit more like this, where you're both pushing it together.
No, it's oh boy.
And you're a lot more coordinated.
That's okay.
We do lack that.
Yes.
I thought that you were going to say that like the Mercy would stay with the Pharaoh the whole time. But
For the most part, you do.
Yeah.
You never really want to leave your far. And from what I saw from scrims, your team does play pretty good with the solo healer and having the pharmacy. But the problem is you don't get enough value at the pharmacy that's worth it.
Yeah.
Your Pharah needs to play a lot more aggressive. And position using walls better so that she can play aggressive.
Block, good block.
Nice block of the shadow.
Still getting bullied though. Regroup.
I decided to switch to Ana.
Need to regroup.
Yeet. Bye. Bye, Lucio. You said,
Yeah, but like,
forget this, I'm out.
getting so much damage to myself.
I wouldn't switch to Ana though.
No, can you go Zaya?
Bet.
Yeah.
It's so big on point.
Right. This
I
Reinhardt.
feel really bad for our Ryan.
Yeah. Well, it's his fault that he's penning in every fight. making you feel useless. What, you don't think you need me? But yeah. If you have a Ryan like that, it is best to switch to Ana for the sake of you have to carry him.
Yeah, so I want to, when he does those crazy pins, if I can nade him and whoever he's pinning, that's pretty big, and then I can just heal for it.
It's,
Ghost is...
it's mostly just about keeping him alive.
Just,
The problem is, though, Doomfist sees you as a free target. Widow sees you as a free target, because Ryan pins in, now you have no shield. Right?
yeah.
And then...
Then that's another thing. Like, at least if I have my thinking was if I had a bit more range, that I could use cover a little bit more.
So. If you use cover, then you don't have sights on Ryan. And then if you're off of Lucio, that means whenever the Ryan gets punched back from the Doom, whenever the Ryan has to push into their Ryan, whenever their Ryan gets antied, or our Ryan gets antied, you're incapable of speeding him out or speeding him in. And no amount of Ana healing can help whenever he gets punched or whatever.
Yeah. Something that causes me a lot of angst is I'm always trying to think, well, I'm a support player, and especially with roll-up now, what can I do? We're not winning, what can I do?
Yeah.
And I feel like
what you need to do here is go Widow and kill her.
I may not always be able to sometimes I might be doing everything that I can to help on the current hero, but if it's not working, I'm like, surely I have to switch. Maybe I can do something more on a different hero.
And no amount of hero switching would help you more than telling this Ryan to stop pinning. If you said that, you'd have won 3 times the more team fights. Assuming that he listened. But two factors. 1, you're a girl. 2, he seemed pretty nice, so he's probably gonna listen.
Yeah.
Right? But if I said...
It's my feminine wild.
But if
getting to do
I said, Ryan, you're actually throwing, please stop pinning. It's over. We lose the game. Because I'm tilted. Yeah, pressuring is really good. Try to make an effort. It's really hard, but try to make an effort to keep up with your Ryan's pace. So right here, you should have rotated with him. And the second you see him rotating around, rotate with him. It just helps. Do I do free sessions?
Yeah, so then otherwise I'll get caught out of position when he decides to go in.
Also, don't use your nade there. He put up a shield, just heal him normally. You want to use your nade whenever you actually cannot out-heal their damage.
Okay.
Join my Discord if you haven't already, if you want information about sessions. It's linked above. If you hit that sleep. So as Lucio, you did a pretty good job, and that's one of the big things I was going to look for. In this meta with the shield and the Reaper Doom, your biggest job as Lucio is to track where the Reaper is, where the Doom is, and to be ready to 180 and peel for your backline to boop the Reaper away whenever he teleports in. And you did a pretty good job of tracking their positioning and when they rotated. And so I had to bring it up. But the second you switched to Ana, that's not your focus anymore, and you lost it. Whenever it's just as important. Because now you have to watch out for yourself.
Yeah.
Are you joking me? He translated one time.
Yeah, like...
And then he killed me with
we're
the
pushing into their territory. We're struggling. Well
Big
done.
We
pit.
got the widow, we got the widow.
But look how split your team is.
We're still regrouping though, don't go in.
Yeah, I had a fat grab.
We're still regrouping, don't go in. Everybody holds W.
Yeah,
Nice.
we got the
Alright, now let's go.
Just the widow will
Is
have
that last
respawned by
fight?
now, watch out.
What was that?
Oh,
Your Ryan's actually
Should be able to
throwing.
get this, it's fine.
Hey,
No,
Sam, you peek it on take damage from me.
it's not good.
That's where you nade.
Oh, just kidding.
that shadow was
Coming back on
so
ball.
huge.
The,
Yeah, go ball.
So it would be okay to nade because this Ryan needs to take space, right?
okay,
And so
okay, I see.
in this time that he's taking space, he will be receiving damage. So the nade helps you keep him at full
Oh, Sam.
while he
I'm so
pushes.
sad.
Okay.
Just because he was crit.
Yeah, I know. No, that's why I said I'm sad. I was like,
And you need to push fast because the Ryan's still dead.
Help out Ryan.
Good nano. Seeing you reloaded while you used Nano. You're doing a lot of things good.
I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah.
Holy crap! These shots. See, how are you flicking, hitting these shots, no scoping as Ana, but then whenever you tried to aim as your battle mercy, like this is your target, and this is where your aim was. I don't understand. Holy crap! Did you get play of the game?
No. Actually, no, I don't know because I left. Left because people got toxic at the end. So once the beat came up, I was like, yeah, it's time to go.
Yeah, we'll
especially
finish
because I
this
knew
one.
I was recording it.
So I just didn't know.
I just can't play Orisa. I have a less than 2 hours.
I love Anna so much.
Dude, look at this Widow's movement. She's so cute.
this
I
is
have
fine,
less
this
than
is
2
fine.
hours.
Yeah.
Look at this
Widow.
Widow. Sorry, this is really off topic. Look at her. Dude, she's so
I
happy.
can't play Orisa. I have a less than 2 hours.
Look at her. Dude, she's like never had a pocket mercy in her life.
Orisa.
Oh, and the spray! Wow, look at that BM.
Yeah, Mercy, I think we need you up here, eh?
You got the
Yeah.
spray and
Do you agree with that? Because
What?
internally I was like, nope.
Okay,
Not
so
yet, at least.
She's doing way better than Platt. Yeah, I agree. Chat said you're doing better than Platt.
Oh, nice. Thank you, chat.
And I agree for the most part, except for communicating and carrying them
Yeah.
mentally. Think about it this way. Imagine if you were in a Grandmaster's game, okay? And everybody's outpacing you. You're getting flanked by Tracer nonstop.
That's part of it.
And you're flying, you're like doing good as Mercy, you're repositioning, you're doing everything you can. But you're always the first one to die. No matter what, like you just can't do anything. Your team rotates back to point, and then you look around, and then you fly to them, right? You're always like one step behind.
That's why I'm like getting out of playing esports for my college because I hate this game.
And now imagine if the main tank told you everything he was doing before he did it, so that you were able to keep up. So you competing at scrims, the advantage that gives you in ranked is that you can tell them what's about to happen before it happens, so that these brainlets know what's going on. Right? And think about how much better that would be, because right now, even though you're not GM, but you're the GM in this Plat game, and so you have a bunch of Plat players who you can feed your information into and bring them up to your level. Not literally, but that's the way you should think about your games.
That's so true because, you know, occasionally, thanks Blizzard matchmaking, there'll be, you know, someone who's obviously a higher rank in our game than
Right.
everyone else. But yet they don't com things. All they do is complain. And I
Yeah,
always,
exactly.
I hate that so much. So you're right. I should be helping them to.
So you've seen this Ryan throw this game, but he wants to win too. But what if in his brain he has no idea what he's doing wrong?
Yeah, exactly. All you see now is
Right? And so and this is where, man, Overwatch is the hardest game to play, because the amount of mental fortitude you have to be nice enough to communicate in a way that these egotistical players will receive and change the way they play while losing in a competitive environment, it's so hard to do. But if you can overcome your own competitive environment and losing a game, and then carry them in that aspect as well, that's how you very, very quickly get to a higher SR. Or you can just not join team chat and just run it Lucio 1v6. Right, and that's the path that most players take. The comm roll is a much quicker way to climb, and is really, really good. But it's so mentally straining. It's very difficult, but it does help. Even if you do get the players who are tilted that you're calming, tell you to shut up, whatever, just mute them and keep calming. It helps you know what you're doing, and helps your teammates know what they're doing too. It just helps everybody a lot.
Well, I liked playing this. No, I think Hammond was
Zari's on the right with you, Reaper, with you? With you, Reaper?
he's fine.
I'm gonna need to try and rest.
If they just reverted the game back to,
chat
Riot
from
being the
Resin.
biggest thing, I would be so happy. I would actually just, that would be so great.
Yeah,
If
he's
Sombra's
forehead.
still,
You wanna
Sombra's
go,
still
like,
right,
free or
Sombra's still right. I'm gonna die here.
Sombra dead.
Oh, big yikes.
Not
Good try.
surprised, I don't blame you.
Saya dead.
It wasn't worth raising Widow, by the way. What is she gonna do,
Yeah.
do against the Doom Sombra?
Yeah, that's
Winnable, winnable. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, and the earlier thing you asked, was it worth leaving the Widow? So
At that point.
no, at the very beginning of the game, yes, because they had already received poke, they weren't full, and
Yeah.
let's say you damage boost a Widow. The only value Widowmaker gets out of being damage boosted is that she can one-shot Tracer in the body. That's it.
I literally said to myself, I was like, this character.
And she can one-shot Bastion. That's the two only reasons why you should ever damage boost a Widow.
Okay.
Otherwise, Widowmaker, two-shot body shots and one-shot headshots, everything else.
This is okay.
Not body shot tanks, but the damage doesn't matter besides Bastion and Tracer or Baby Diva. So if like you ever see a Widow who's 1v1ing a Tracer, damage booster until Tracer fires her first clip, then you heal in between clips until Widow gets to enough HP that she can survive another clip, and then you damage booster again. Because if she charges up and gets a body shot, it's a one-shot kill.
Or you play Lucio.
Okay. That's good to know. Thanks.
Thank you for mortality.
Because damage, she does 250 to the head, right? And so if you damage boost, then it's...
She's not OP anymore now, but she was pretty broken.
Actually, sorry, she does 300 damage to the head. Okay? She does 300 damage to a headshot. So Reaper, 250 health, will be one shot. But Bastion, who has 300 health, but I think 40, 50 of it is armor, which gives actually an additional 50. So Bastion actually has like 350 health. I don't know these exact numbers, but it's approximately in there. So if Widow does 300 damage to the head, but Bastion actually has 350 because of his armor, damage boosting will let you one-shot headshot him. She does 125 to a body shot, so damage boosting puts her over to 150 to one-shot body shot Tracer and Baby Diva. But against Safara, if you damage boost her and she body shots, it's still a two-shot body shot. It helps
So I think
in the sense of if she does get a body shot, then she can just machine gun from distance or land another less charged body shot and you'll kill easier. It does help, but it's not worth pocketing a Widow.
yeah, and I think actually, I need to get it straight in my mind that pocketing is like when she needs healing as well, like she might be getting pressured or is low or
Yes, that
something
is
like
very
that.
true.
Whereas if she's just got a safe at the moment
This
position,
is gonna be the last fight coming up.
don't need to bother
Unless
damage boosting.
the only other reason why you should pocket somebody is if they've already proven that they can 1v6. Then you should just stick with them the entire game.
Which I do keep an eye out for, because that's generally
That's good.
how we'll win comp games, is I figure out who's worth pocketing.
Yep.
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
Make sure they live.
Either just stop.
I get Mercy's to do the opposite. They're like, alright, Yoki's carrying, I'm gonna not pocket
Tried
him.
to save
Coming
him.
with
There's
it.
Sombra behind us. Help me.
Or not heal him ever. I'm just kidding.
Help!
Fuck.
I throw.
No, I'm staying on point. I'm staying on point. Come back on point.
Regroup.
So you lost Sigma. Ooh, no, you need a Valk before you do that.
Don't risk it.
Valk before.
Nice. Good res. Good res. Oh my god, they fudged
And then I
Interesting.
flew into the grab.
Yeah.
Zarya what?
Hopefully you get
Zarya
out,
what?
yes. Good job. You,
What the fuck?
there's nothing more you could have done. Valk before you res, just so that you won't die. I bet your Doomfist would have punished you for that. You do fly in pretty aggressively often.
What the fuck?
At this elo, it does more good than harm.
Nice. Good res. Good res.
But still think about your flight as something that has a cooldown.
Res.
Your positioning is a resource. So if you are
It's okay.
at point A,
It's actually
and you
so
have a
kinda
teammate
low.
who's at point B, and you have an enemy who's dealing damage to you, and the second you start receiving that damage, you fly, right? But the problem is, you only receive 10 HP of damage, and so now that enemy retargets, and now you have nobody
I
else to
have no.
fly to,
Yeah.
or you have to receive more damage. Whenever over here, there's no cover. But here you actually had a wall that you could have just received 40 more damage and walked behind. right?
You should still get it.
And so
Okay,
the second you receive damage, you always take this flight route,
Hey, he's throwing. Close.
and you never look for this alternative higher value option.
I'm gonna try to make sure that
So
they don't
that's something that you've
I'm gonna knock this guy.
done
Oh my God, they
consistently.
find good
In this elo, you won't get punished for it. It's like right here, you could fly, you could fly, you could fly, but you realize you're like such low HP, you can't. So you understand that flying isn't the best way out.
Zarya won?
So right here, you can fly, you can fly. You're kind of out in the open, but you're not being focused
No,
yet.
we're fine, we're fine.
You do hear Sombra, which is intimidating. Yes, I get it. And then you just fly in. The immortality was like, good.
They literally have nothing to CC.
So once again, you have this space, and you're not being pressured at all. There's nothing, no reason, but you fly towards this Ryan just to stay mobile,
Yeah, I was saying, it's what I'm
Oh shit.
right?
He is
Not being pressured, fly. And so now you have nobody else to fly to.
Yeah.
Spread out of it.
You're safe behind cover, fly. Right back into line of fire. See?
Yeah.
It's
That's pretty bad.
Just try to break the habit before it hurts you. But see, like you weren't punished for it too heavily. What you want to do with your mercy positioning, right? You're positioned behind the box. This Zarya is breaking the shield. Let's say the Zarya is fighting Sigma, okay?
Oh my gosh, can I please?
And then you're healing
Can I
the
have
Sigma.
value? Big
You
heals.
force the Zarya to invest time
You know,
to turn around and look at you,
it's okay.
and in that time, you heal Sigma's health bar back up to full, and then you fly to him,
Fly. Yep.
right? And so
Yeah.
you invested this amount of time and resource, the time that took for Zarya to turn around, you got value out of your positioning before you flew. You never give yourself that opportunity sometimes because you fly the first chance you
I'm
get.
fine, I'm okay.
That time you had to fly, but it was just
Fuck.
too late.
Yeah, I don't know.
It wouldn't have changed anything, but it's a little bit of value that you.
Okay, she died. Nice job, boys. Oh my.
All right.
DPS. Yes, bro.
What is
Hey, what's the
DPS?
hump?
I left.
Oh, here
Yeah, that's not gonna get any better.
I love. You can tell with how you click the buttons. There's disappointment. Look. Oh, it's so good. Ellie, right?
Yeah.
Ah, good.
Oh, she's gonna. Oh my gosh.
So, just general recap.
Oh, what'd she come?
Mercy mechanics pretty good. Stop flying on autopilot though.
Oh
Pay
my
attention to where you're positioned.
Oh.
Think before you res. Take time. Mercy is one of the few heroes in Overwatch where you can really take your time to do things. You really don't have to rush to make decisions. Even the res, you have a timer. You're like, oh, timers are intimidating.
Oh, did you say empathy and
Just
apathy to the other guy?
general psychology. If you see something that's ticking down, it's nerve-wracking, right? And the second you see a res, you're like, I want to get off my screen as quick as possible. Get that res. In your head, you're adding a member to your team. But it's a little bit two-faced in the sense of, well, you're taking yourself out of the fight for the time that you go for the res. So just be careful. Make sure you're getting max value whenever you do go for your reses. Communicate to your team. Let them know you're going for the res. For Lucio,
Oh, Mercy on point?
have you ever seen the Lucio
That's
time trials?
unlucky. Lawrence, Mercy
The
on point.
workshop game modes?
Kind of.
Um.
We can win this.
No, I've done a bit of the Lucio wall riding workshop where you like as soon as you touch the ground, you respawn back somewhere.
Those are okay. There are search like the Lucio race. Just search for Lucio, and there should be a custom game. Just look it up. The workshop
Actually,
code.
I think they had the timer. Yeah, I think that same workshop they also had like a timer going, and it's to get from point A to B without touching the ground the
Yes.
fastest.
Hanzo first. Oh, Mercy,
That
Mercy.
I think I know which one you're talking about. The floor is lava one.
Probably, yeah.
That one's not as good because it's more
We're gonna
puzzle than it is speed.
Mhm.
So for the
Just slammed it on my line.
time trial one, it's to get across the map as quick as possible. And you just have to have really good Lucio mechanics to do it good.
Sure.
To even cross the map in general. And just to cross the map, it takes a few tries to learn. And then once you get your route, you go again and again and again and get your time faster. And it forces you to learn how to have better Lucio mechanics. And then just in game, put yourself on every wall you see. Even if it starts to like, just don't make it a bad habit. Don't make it a bad habit. Don't become a Reddit Lucio. Your positioning is good. Just always be on the wall.
Nice.
Be glued to the
You
wall.
were so confused. You're like, what?
Besides that, being vocal, your ult tracking, mostly pretty good. Definitely communicate to your team. As Mercy, it is your job because you sit in the back and you watch what the rest of your team is doing, and you see the enemy team. Sorry, he's stupid loud for no reason. So you as Mercy, this is your field of view, and so you see the 5 on your team and the 6 on their team, and then you know where you are, right? So as Mercy, Mercy is one of the few characters in the game who gets to see and know absolutely everything that's happening in the game at the same time, because you see all 12 on the screen. So you, above all other people, are in the best situation to tell, for example, your Pharah what she needs to do to change the outcome of this fight, because you see all of it unfolding, all of it happening. So in your scrims with your team, at the beginning of the fight, if you see your Pharah going for a long flank, if you know you're attacking Nepal Village, the map where you ran out of time and only your team was on point, and they capped the point before you even contested, you need to be the person on your team who speaks up and says, hey, we have to go to point now. We can't take all this time to rotate. You watch it all happen, and there's not much else you're doing, so make sure you're involved in comms, telling your team what to do. And with that, where you positioned, you obscure your view a lot of times. Make sure you are able to see what's happening so that you can do that. And then stop flying autopilot. We already said that. There wasn't too much else.
Well, I didn't really play much else, or you didn't get to see me play much else. I think I played a bit of Warrior and
The Mercy is not bad. We got to find a few mistakes with your flight and positioning, and then your Valks. Okay, make sure you're using damage a lot more in Valks.
Okay.
Damage, you want to use Valks at the beginning of the fight, and at the beginning of the fight, everybody's full health. So you want to use Valk pop damage to get that advantage. Enforce their cooldowns.
Yeah. So just thinking about how I usually use it, I just need to use it earlier, because sometimes I use it in response to seeing teammates take damage and knowing that they're going to take more damage. So it's like a healing.
You want to use it the second you see their team commit to a fight.
Right.
So if you see Lucio up speed, Valk. If you see their Winston jump, use Valk. If you see their Winston on the edge getting ready to jump, you wait. Because if you use Valk, then he's like, oh, I'm not going to jump now, we're just going to wait it out. And then wasted an ult.
Exactly, and I'm so worried about not getting value out of a ult.
Yeah. And so, like I said, Valk is one of the lower cost cooldowns, and you want to be using it almost every fight that you have.
Oh, for the
if you know that Valk's the only ult we have, they have all 6, we're just going to dry push, don't waste it, because you're going to lose anyways. If you have Grav Dragon, don't use Valk, we don't need it, we already have a win condition, right? Other than that, you really should be using Valk to give yourself an early advantage, to force their ults, to force their cooldowns. Think about it this way, if you're an attacking team, and you have this long distance you need to cover, and you use Lucio Speed Boost to cover that distance, and the second you use Lucio Speed Boost, their Mercy Valks pops damage, and you have all 6 people shooting at you with damage boost while you're covering that distance, by the time you get to where you're supposed to be and are ready to fight, you would have already had to use Sigma Grasp, both your shields are going to be destroyed, Lucio amp speed, so he can't amp heals, and that means Zermoya had to throw a heal orb, and after all that's gone, your team still hasn't had to use any of their cooldowns, you just use the damage. Right?
Yeah. So using it to force out their cooldowns, which puts us in a more favourable position when they do come in.
Yes, and
if they come in.
That's exactly why you combo with Supercharger as well, because you have 2 shields you need to melt through. And if you combo both, it stacks. And then if they use Sigma Grasp and you break through all the shields, then you can probably still even kill them, just because that's how much damage you're amplifying.
And that's something I've tried to avoid because I worried that Rissa damage boost was kind of doing the same thing as Valk, that damage boosting while in
It
Valk.
stacks.
And so,
It stacks.
I knew it stacks, but I was worried that it would be too much, like it wasn't necessary.
No, it's 100% worth.
You're a young boy.
On
I
screen,
have to
there's
say that 'cause I'm almost 21.
what,
I'm the old
4,000 HP right now.
And that's a hard cap, and you know it.
Doom's getting shields.
Oh,
Lucio,
yeah.
Moira
Maturity and
doing tons of
responsibility are
sustain
two different
heals.
things.
Double shields with Orisa Fortify,
Good,
with
they
Sigma
are.
Grasp.
Yeah, see, because someone who's mature.
You know, there's just so much you have to deal through, and it's
Someone who's
not
mature
overkill if you
would-
use damage and
No.
the second they commit.
No, someone who's mature wouldn't be taking offense, Lawrence.
Alright, any questions?
No, you're upset. You're arguing with me. You're immature.
Not really. I think you've given me some really good stuff to think about, so I'm keen to go and
Have
work
you
on
met
that.
our president, Lawrence?
Alright,
Yeah,
sounds
rolled and smoked,
good.
Lawrence. Don't talk. I said
Bye,
you met our
Ellie.
president?
Good luck in your games.
He has lots of responsibilities.
Thanks for
Good luck
everything,
getting
Andy.
back to Masters.
One day. Cheers. See ya.
One day, once you learn how to
Lawrence
Reddit
is like
Lucio.
hot throwing.
Yeah,
Let me know once you get a 6-man boop.
I will. Thanks. Bye.
If you pick Torb,
Alright,
you're not throwing.
bye.